Let's get peppy. Welcome to PEP 269. That's Planet Extra Podcast. I am Chaz Lichadello, a host of Planet America on ABC Australia, and this is an official podcast of the ABC. So say hi to the Ombudsman for me. On PEP, we cover all the stuff that's too nerdy for TV. If you're listening, you can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Planet PEP, and you can find highlights there as well. You also find timestamps and show notes in our blurbs. And if you leave a comment under our current episode video, we are likely to see it. Do not forget to subscribe for all that peppy goodness. It all helps. You can also tweet us or blue sky us at PEPCHASDRDAVE. That's at PepChaz Dr. Dave. If you want to chat to some fellow peppers, you can join our Discord server. It's on the screen right now or in the blurb of the podcast. But if you want to contact me or Lockie the Lackey privately, why not email us? The address is producer@pepthepodcast.com. The address again is producer@pepthepodcast.com. I hope you've been enjoying the replies I've been sending out the last few days. Great way to get back into the swing of things. And we are recording this at 1:50 p.m. on Friday, the 7th of August, or 11:50 p.m. on Thursday night, East Coast time. But for now, let's turn to the man who simply will not raise the stakes on inconsequential views no matter how much I try to make him. It is Dr. Pepper himself, Dr. David Smith.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Smith. I'm an associate professor at the US Studies Centre at the University of Sydney. But I do not speak for either of those institutions. Yes, we've been away for a few weeks. Yes, there have been some changes around here, as you can see if you're watching the video, but I still don't speak for either of those institutions. Just because all of my limbs are visible now, I am nobody's spokesperson.
Some things never change, Dave. The studio might, but you do not.
I do not. Now, did these changes happen because I was thumping the table too much?
They've disappeared the table. So now Dave has to thump the armrest.
They thought there are two ways we can deal with this. Ask him to stop the Khrushchev antics or just reconfigure the entire studio. And they went with reconfiguration. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That will be the new legend. Whether it's true or not, we will pretend that is the case.
Yeah.
This studio is continuing the change, by the way. We're halfway through the changes. So it's exciting times. What were you up to during your holidays, Dave?
I went to Japan.
You went to Japan? Did you ski?
Hokkaido specifically.
Hokkaido. So you did ski?
It's summer in Japan.
Of course, dirt chase. No, but isn't Hokkaido snowy all year round?
No, it's not.
Okay, well there you
No.
go.
When it's snowy, it's very snowy, and snow aficionados treasure the particular type of powder it gets. But no,
It's the snowiest island on Earth.
That
Or location.
does not surprise me.
Yeah.
But no, we were
trivia.
there in the summer, which was absolutely delightful. Hokkaido is, among other things, very proud of its dairy products.
Okay.
Hokkaido's soft serve ice cream is basically a cult in Japan. Like, as we were leaving Hokkaido at the airport, everyone is just lined up at these various ice cream shops, just desperate for their last soft serve because it actually tastes like a dairy product, which is shocking after a lifetime of eating Australian soft serves from various chains, which I won't mention. So the ice cream is amazing, but the ice cream is only one of the thousands of things that are amazing about Hokkaido.
Do they have cows there?
Yeah.
I thought it was all mountains, Hokkaido.
No, there are substantial mountains, but there is plenty of room for cows. You can get your fill of cows.
I've got a very high fill of cows that I require.
In Hokkaido. But the ingredients of everything are so incredibly fresh there.
Okay. Well, that's very nice. I watched lots of movies.
Okay, good.
That's all I did. I just watched movies. Lockie got me starting a Letterboxd account. If you care what movies I watched, it's in the last 2 weeks alone, I watched 80 movies.
Did you watch Persona?
No, although that is on my list.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it. So,
I did.
Yeah,
I said you would absolutely love it because it's just like Mulholland Drive except more boring.
Yeah, you said you said very sarcastically that I would love it. But I am going to watch it. And I'm going to...
In all seriousness, though, one of my favourite movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my Letterboxd account is Whippet Boy. But if you do comment in Letterboxd. I am not going to dedicate a portion of PEP to talking about movie reviews you didn't like. Okay, so let's just put it there. Or some other housework, we should just get out off the top. Planet America is returning not Monday, but the Monday after that.
Right.
Hopefully over the next few weeks, we're going to have an announcement or two to make about times and durations of pods and shows and so forth.
Yep.
Not quite yet. We'll let you know when we do. I will say this, though. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be taking a week off both Planet and PEP. Planet, that's not such a problem. There's lots of people who can sub in for me. PEP, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I think it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so there may not be a PEP in 3 weeks' time.
I am not going to try to do your intro, so I think that just rules it out.
I'm having a knee operation. The knee recovery hasn't gone as hoped. So in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be under the knife and I'm going to be having the funny stuff. So there will not be any analysis coming from me.
The general?
I'm not sure. But afterwards, I will be on the funny stuff for a few more days.
Right,
So
okay.
That's the issue. Grateful, Dave. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful for Bill Wyman's rock and roll lists.
Oh, yes.
We have discussed this before on PEP a couple of years ago when his updated Beatles list came out on Vulture. So the idea of these lists is that he does all of their songs, that is, like all of the ones that were actually released, from worst to best. So with the Beatles, that's 283 songs. Yeah. And the most enjoyable part of the list, I always find, is the top of the list, the worst. And Bill explains in the introduction to this new book compiling all of the lists that he doesn't owe anything to these bands. He owes something to you, the prospective listener. So he's going to give you honest reviews. And so he's compiled his lists of the Beatles, The Clash, Pink Floyd, Michael Jackson, the Eagles, Nirvana, and Led Zeppelin. And for most of these lists, I'd say you have to get about 2/3 of the way through before he's actually doing positive reviews.
Yes.
And even when he's doing positive reviews, he doesn't hold back on any criticisms that he has.
He does not hold back.
And this gave me, because this is nearly 200,000 words long, right? It also includes his list of all the inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, this time going from best to worst, which gets just steadily more amusing as it goes along. It was just hours and hours and hours of entertainment. Like, I started reading this on an 8-hour flight, was not finished by the end. There were so many great one-liners in it, but just to give you my favorite, it was Pink Floyd is the only band that can be credibly compared to both the Beatles and Spinal Tap. And in these lists, he isn't just describing each song. He actually used these lists to tell the story of each band. And I mean, even for bands whose stories has been told a lot, I just learned so much from this. I didn't quite realize how bad the Beatles were at the business side of the operation, nor did I realize how good Jimmy Page was at the business side of the operation. The Nirvana chapter, I think, is completely new, and he writes very empathetically about Nirvana. This is a part of the book. I mean, I recommend the entire thing, but I particularly recommend this one because Nirvana, I think this is the only band that was really active when he was himself a journalist. Well, he still is, but when he was a music critic in the US. And yeah, so I think in some ways he's a little bit closer to that than he was to the others. But anyway, the whole thing is fantastic. I highly recommend it. As I said, hours and hours and hours of entertainment, and very informative as well. And you will disagree with a lot of the things he says. I can absolutely guarantee that. I have complained in the past that he didn't have Obla Di, Obla Da low enough. Or is it not bad enough on the list? And long-time Peppers may remember that has something to do with the madness. But yeah, so you'll disagree with it, but that is all part of the enjoyment.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to say, I've only seen his Beatles list so far, and I disagree with almost all of it, but I still loved reading it. It was great. Well, I'm grateful for. Okay, I read a piece in The Atlantic which really brightened my mood. So I want to share it with you guys. I'm going to give you a gift link. I'll put it in the homework so you can read it for yourself. There were two things I was depressed about recently, and it dealt with both of them.
Yep.
One, I was depressed about the fact that Trump had completely undone all of America's progress on climate change, and I will talk about climate change one of these days.
Yep.
And two, I was depressed about the fact that Biden had made a concerted effort to help the lives of the working class and got precisely zero reward for that. Now, I wasn't depressed about that because I was some Biden stan. As you know, Dave, I'm definitely not a big Biden fan at all. But but I was depressed about the fact if you try to improve people's lives and it has no impact on elections whatsoever, then politicians will eventually start stopping to even bother improving people's lives because they'll get no payoff.
Yes.
And that's what I was depressed about from a policy point of view.
Yep.
They'll just focus on the culture war instead, which is much easier and cheaper.
Yes.
But this article cheered me up. Now, it was written by someone involved in the Inflation Reduction Act, so they are biased. But it was still interesting. You can judge for yourself if you read it at the link I have put in the homework. Now, to remind you, the Inflation Reduction Act was basically an environmental bill in disguise, posing as inflation reduction. That's just a catchy name. It led to about $185 billion in announced private investment into factories for solar panels and batteries and electric vehicles. The whole concept, that's before election day.
Yeah.
Like the $185 billion. And the whole concept was if you put enough factories in enough localities, you're going to buy some votes. Which sounds cynical, but at the same time, it's actually creating jobs.
Yeah.
So that's that's the kind of thing that should buy votes when you're actually doing something good for the community.
Yes.
And the author identified 234 House districts that saw a total of 523 clean energy factories announced during the Biden years and compared them to demographically similar districts that had nothing.
Right.
Which is a fair comparison. Over the 4 presidential elections preceding 2024, they found voting patterns in those 2 sets of districts basically moved in lockstep. Just going up and down with the national tide. But in 2024, they found clean energy manufacturing lifted Harris's vote share by about 1.5%. 1.5 percentage points. Which is about 2.5 million votes across those 234 districts.
About 1.5 points less than she needed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's not massive, but it's not nothing.
Yes.
And until now, we thought it was nothing. So that is good to know. And they explain some detail in the article why, until now, the studies seem to show nothing.
Right.
And they say, we did it this way, and it showed something. And remember also, these factories were being sold by Biden.
Yes.
The world's worst salesman. And they still got 1.5 percentage points. So that's good news if you care about policy, right? And on the climate change front, you seem disgusted. Jump in.
This is a green factory.
Exactly. So,
this isn't the factory that mangled your uncle.
So when I thought you were disgusted, that was just the beginning of your Biden impression.
That's right.
That was you trying to act like you're disgusted with life. And on the climate change front, that was a wonderful impression. You need to do more impressions, Dave. They definitely might highlight this podcast. On the climate change front, of the 523 projects that they looked at, only 37 of them had been cancelled as of April 2026. Now, some more were going to get wrapped up in the next few months, but they were leading to people trying to rush usage of those programs before, which we did say that might happen.
Yes, we did
when we talked about the big beautiful bill or whatever it's called, And the net result of this is that US solar capacity is expected to double over the next 5 years, even with the big, beautiful bill. And America, in fact, is on track for its biggest build-out of power generation in history, and 93% of it is clean energy.
That's good.
So that is actually good news again. And battery prices are undoubtedly part of that. They've fallen by about a third. Also, partly because of the investment from the Inflation Reduction Act. So that's good news as well. And there's a whole lot more where that came from in that article. So if you're interested, go have a look. It's in the homework. But that's what I'm grateful for.
Okay.
A bit of good news. Now, Dave, There are things which I'm a bit patchy on because I started reading on Friday, like a week ago, and you're going to do a lot of the yeoman work in that area.
Okay.
And let's start with one of them, which is Iran, because a lot's been happening. I don't know what it is. So tell me.
A lot has been happening.
Yes.
So we left off with the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed towards the end of June. And our prediction was that it was the Lebanon issue that would bring down the Memorandum of Understanding.
It was.
That wasn't the issue that brought it down. Now, it's not like fighting stopped in Lebanon, but that was not the issue. The issue was the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
So it turned out the big sticking point was the fact that the US and Iran fundamentally disagreed over the paragraph. And remember, we had discussed this as there are some interesting ambiguities in here over the paragraph about what freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz meant. Because if you read it one way, it seemed to suggest it should be total freedom of navigation. It was talking about compliance with the law of the sea. But if you read it another way, it seemed to suggest that Iran would be deciding the terms. Well, not surprisingly, they interpreted it in completely different ways. And so the memo started to fall apart when Iran started attacking ships that were sailing too close to Oman, whereas Iran wanted them to sail through specific waterways which can be very obviously surveilled by Iran.
Yeah.
For a while, there were back and forth attacks while both sides were still claiming that the Memorandum of Understanding was still in place. The US attacks focused initially on sites around the Strait of Hormuz, from which Iran was launching attacks. Quickly, the tit for tat escalated until it was completely obvious that the Memorandum of Understanding was dead. And the US reimposed the naval blockade, and Iran started attacking sites all over the Middle East again. Now, when I say all over the Middle East, I mean all over the Middle East. There was a drone attack on an Egyptian harbour in the Mediterranean.
From who?
From Iran.
From Iran, okay.
Yes, yeah. So, basically every country that was a US ally or that Iran perceives as a US ally, Egypt is very much a US ally. It's the second largest, or it was the second largest recipient of US military aid in the world, was getting attacked.
Okay.
So, Trump declared the Memorandum of Understanding dead, although I don't think it's been formally torn up, and there has been talk of the possibility of them returning to it. Okay, so at the absolute peak of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, I think at one point they managed to get 30-something ships through a day. Mm-hmm. But remember that pre-war, it was 130 or 140 ships per day. It is now down to about 10 at the most.
Right.
So the US says it is still guiding ships through, but it's down to a very low number. J.D. Vance was having lunch with Republican senators yesterday and was assuring them that the numbers of ships sailing through the strait are high enough that will keep the price of oil down. But Republican senators were reportedly very skeptical. Now, the price of oil, it's not as high as it was at the original peak of the war. It's, I think, 78. I think it was $78 a barrel for Brent crude was the last one I saw. But the price of gasoline in the US is still above $4 a gallon. It's $4.06. Now, that is down from its peak, but that's still much, much higher than anyone in the US would like it to be. It is still definitely in territory where it is economically and politically hurting.
I don't understand.
Yes.
Trump clearly, at this point in time, can't force Iran to stop doing this. Otherwise, he would have by now.
Yes.
And so from Trump's point of view, he's got to be asking himself, do I want this to happen all the way up to the election? Because Iran obviously will keep on doing this all the way up to the election. And if the answer is no, then why wouldn't he just give up in July?
When you hear Trump on this, it's a mixture of nihilism, confusion, and sheer meaninglessness. Statements like, we just want to win.
Right.
At some point, they're going to say, that's too much. It really is just pounding away and hoping that will somehow yield results. Even now everybody is telling him that is not going to yield results.
Like, it's not hurting Iran.
Nobody, apart from Mark Thiessen, believes that victory is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Anymore. So, yes, like it really is just in this absolutely hopeless holding pattern. Now, in terms of the number of casualties, the IDF claims that there have been 6,500 Iranian casualties in total so far. Iran is claiming a much lower number, like 3,000. Yeah. I am not even going to attempt to adjudicate between those two. The Lebanese Ministry of Health says that 4,323 people have died in Lebanon. Yeah. The IDF claims a lower number than that. Hezbollah claims a much lower number than that, 1,000. Yeah. So there is a very significant human toll taking place here, but it's not significant enough to make anybody stop.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible thing to say, but that is the strategic reality. So number of American service people killed, that's 18, plus 2 contractors. So that has gone up by a few since last time we had PEP. Trump has, as always, been threatening to obliterate civilian targets, but then keeps stepping back from that, and even says things that seem to suggest he would recognize that as a war crime and actually doesn't want to commit war crimes. Look, the human cost is definitely there, but it's not enough to make anybody stop. Everyone seems to recognize at this point that Iran is getting more and more hardline. They're not just making more hardline statements. They are actually getting more and more hardline. So what we're looking at the moment, like what the world's eyes are fixed upon, including those of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, is a negotiation between Iran and Oman, which the US is not even involved with, in order to come up with a deal for opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now, part of the background to this, yes.
No, I was going to say.
You look very perplexed.
No, just if there's a deal between Iran and Oman about the Strait of Hormuz, presumably it will involve Iran and Oman controlling the Strait of Hormuz.
Exactly.
Why would America want that?
Well, because they're desperate at this point for anything that will get the traffic. And they're saying, we're not going to accept Iranian control of the Strait of Hormuz. We need
Iranian
freedom of navigation. I think the ultimate outcome of this is going to be something which the Americans will call freedom of navigation and the Iranians will call Iranian control.
I think you're right.
Yes. Yeah. So Iran's negotiating with Oman. Oman is desperate for this to be over, so they are negotiating. Gulf states have told or have asked the US not to escalate. Israel wanted the US to escalate. Netanyahu visited Washington and was suggesting that there should be escalation. A day later, Saudi representatives came and said, please don't escalate. Whether it was because they were the last ones that Trump heard or because Trump finds them more convincing at that point, neither of those things would surprise me. It seems to be de-escalation at the moment.
Okay.
Now, what the Fars news agency in Iran is reporting at the moment is that Iran's parliament is now voting on a new system of tolls. Now, I think that just before we left, we mentioned, this brain fart that Trump came up with where he, for about 24 hours, was saying that the US would actually impose tolls.
Yes, I remember that.
On the Strait of Hormuz as a way of getting compensation for all the great work it was doing.
Yes.
And he said 20% of the cargo, which would just be ridiculously prohibitive. Well, the Iranian parliament is saying up to 7%.
Right.
Which, I mean, that I think would be prohibitive as well, or close to prohibitive. And they're saying 20% for anybody who violates the specific channel that they're supposed to go through. I've seen a map of this. Basically, in the south of the Strait of Hormuz, that's the space of Omani control. That's where they're supposed to transit out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then in the north is the space of Iranian control. That's where they're supposed to transit in. And then in the middle, there's a section labelled dangerous mines.
Wow. I was thinking of watching that actually during my holidays. I should have. I've been ready for this. Yes.
Tangent Treehouse. Dangerous reminds...
I can't believe you have gear ready to go on dangerous mines. Yeah, tell us about it.
It reminds me
Yes.
of the late Coolio.
Yeah, of course it does.
Do you remember when Coolio visited Canberra?
No, I don't.
Yeah. I'm sure he went there because he wanted to be reminded of South Central LA. The Canberra Times had this front page headline. This was when Canberra was debating light rail. And the headline had Coolio's face on it in front of a mock-up of Canberra light rail. And it said, Canberra light rail, yo or no? Coolio says yes.
Oh,
Yeah, just sit with that one.
I'm so confused.
Dave, we're going to need a little bit of a fact check there. That's not what the headline reads.
Oh.
It's not yo or no. It's dope
Dope
or
or
no.
Dope or no. No.
Well done, Lockie.
The original one was yo or no. They must have thought that's really lame and changed it to dope or nope.
Because this is less lame.
Yeah, this is less lame.
Now, while you're fact checking, Lockie, I was just trying to access the deepest recesses of my mind.
Yeah, you gave Dangerous Minds 3.5 stars.
Not that, no. Coolio, if I recall, had an incredibly embarrassing real name. It's like Artis Ivey or something. Can you just look up what Coolio's real name is?
Artis Leon Ivey Jr.
It was Artis Ivey, yes!
Well done.
Yeah!
Artis Leon Ivey Jr.
Was that Leo or Leon?
Leon.
Leon. Yeah, I didn't know about the Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about Dangerous Minds. Something about poor kids from the ghetto can be uplifted through the power of Dylan Thomas, but some of their parents don't like Dylan Thomas.
Yeah.
And so those kids are going to stay in the ghetto forever.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't watched it. I do have to review it.
Okay.
And it won't get 3.5 stars, I'm pretty sure.
No.
But
Anyway,
amazing.
back
to the Dangerous Minds in
to
Iran.
the Dangerous Minds.
Yeah.
Yes, the toll system that the Iranian legislature is talking about. It's time for me to confess I have been very, very wrong about crypto. Some of the peppers are absolutely going to love this. I've been so wrong about crypto, saying that no one uses it for anything legitimate.
You were very negative.
You want to sail a ship through the Strait of Hormuz? You can pay that toll in Bitcoin or in Trump coin.
I was going to say, this is the compromise, Dave.
USDT.
This is the compromise. This is the answer. The answer is you pay a toll to Iran, but in DJT.
Yes.
That is the answer. I can't believe you cracked it and you didn't even realize it.
I didn't even realize it. This would explain why Trump hasn't complained about this yet.
Yes. That's amazing.
Anyway.
Can I ask, what's going on with the Houthis? Because I remember seeing somewhere that they were firing missiles. Are they in it or not?
Yes. Okay. Let's take a step back.
Yeah.
and have a look at the Saudi dimension of all of this, because there's quite a Saudi subplot emerging in all of this. Yes, so one of the things that really started to panic the markets was that the Houthis were getting involved and saying they would attack Saudi shipping in the Red Sea.
That's the other strait.
Yes. Yeah, which they have been. I think they weren't threatening to shut down all shipping in the Red Sea, but the Red Sea is basically Saudi Arabia's escape route for its oil if the Strait of Hormuz is not available. They built a very long pipeline to it. So that was a problem. And that is now appears to be reigniting the Yemen civil war, which there had been a ceasefire in place since 2022. So this is a rapidly developing story. I won't say any more about that now, but yes, it appears that the Houthis have attacked the what keeps getting referred to as the internationally recognised Yemeni government in retaliation for, or they claim in retaliation for Saudi actions.
Okay,
but actually back to Saudi Arabia, the other bit of weirdness that came out of this a couple of weeks ago was this announcement out of the blue that the United States was going to support nuclear enrichment in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Now, Saudi Arabia has wanted nuclear enrichment for a long time. US is in principle opposed to it, but there have been negotiations about this that have taken place in the past. There are also definitely factions in Saudi Arabia that actually want the bomb.
Yeah.
And that argue that Saudi Arabia should have the bomb. But this was quite a surprise that the US was now endorsing nuclear enrichment in Saudi Arabia with, all kinds of provisos that they couldn't pursue the bomb. But nonetheless, allowing Saudi Arabia to enrich nuclear material on its own soil, because generally the US position is we don't want countries enriching nuclear material on their own soil if they're not already doing it. That came as it's quite a shock, this negotiation. But it made sense in in a couple of contexts.
Yes.
One, Saudi Arabia getting very nervous about the way that the war is going.
Yep.
And two, Trump needing to keep Saudi Arabia on side for all kinds of reasons.
Okay.
I mean, it's too late to save live golf, but, Trump definitely wants to keep the Saudis on side. Now, of course, as soon as this got reported, all of these smarty pants, smug news organizations started to report the fact that the Biden administration had also been in negotiation with the Saudis about this, but it was on the condition that the Saudis recognized Israel, gave diplomatic recognition to Israel, which they don't currently. And so, as soon as they started reporting that, basically within about 12 hours of that, Trump unilaterally declares that this new Saudi enrichment deal, which had been presented as a done deal, that's actually contingent on Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords. We have not heard anything from Saudi Arabia since then about it. And I think that we can assume that the deal is probably off.
Yeah, it just strikes me as poor strategy when you're trying to discourage Iran from pursuing nuclear power to have Saudi Arabia pursuing nuclear power.
When it was first announced, I thought this is basically giving up.
Yeah.
This is basically accepting it as inevitable that Iran will get a nuclear weapon and say, okay, well, let's get Saudi Arabia ready to have one, which some analysts would argue that's going to be the ultimate equilibrium in all of this.
Okay.
Anyway, so it looked like giving up, but then along came the Abraham Accords stuff. Now, it could have just been Trump up to his old real estate tricks, close the deal first and then tell them what the these extra conditions are and just hope that they're so committed to it that they say yes. But, of course, it has had to learn over and over and over again, sovereign nations are not meek real estate investors that you can just screw over. So, as far as I can tell, the nuclear enrichment deal is off.
Are there other updates on this that you'd like to?
There are some other
go for
updates
it.
on this. So it was reported earlier this week that the US, 80% of its interceptor stock had been depleted.
Is that a particular kind of interceptor or is that all of them?
That's all of them.
That's bad news.
That's bad news.
That's it.
I think it's all of them. Lockie, do you want to fact check that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all of them.
Because I'm not a military guy, but they'll talk about Patriot missiles and they'll talk about this kind of missile and they'll talk about that kind of missile. If we're talking about 80% of the lot, that's not good news.
No.
Yes.
Well, it was certainly enough to get Trump upset.
Yeah.
So Trump held a cabinet meeting at Camp David where, according to various sources and reported by various outlets, he really had a go at Pete Hegseth over there. So what he was having a go at him about is that why didn't I know that our interceptor stocks were depleted by this much?
Really?
Yeah.
That's progress. Because I would have, if you asked me, I would have bet $100
Yeah.
that what he was going to have a go at Hegseth about was, why did you leak that?
Well.
Why did you let that information out? If he actually cares
Lockie is
about the
confirming
result-
that's 80% of total. That is 80% of total interceptors.
80% of THAAD interceptors.
Oh, THAAD interceptors.
50% of Patriot interceptors.
Right.
Okay, that's still not
According
great.
to CNN.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, no, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is that's bad.
Yeah, so for him to care about the actual result rather than just the information about that result is progress.
Yeah. So Pete Hegseth heroically, manfully blamed his deputy, Stephen Feinberg.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He claimed it was Stephen Feinberg who had not adequately kept Trump up to date
Did that work?
on the intelligence. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, the White House is reporting, no, this conversation never happened.
Of course it is.
But I mean, we will talk about Pirro later on, but I'm seeing a
There's
parallel
trend.
here.
Yes.
Trump is actually now getting upset when he realizes he's had bad information coming to him, and then someone throws someone else under the bus for it. Now, I might respectfully suggest that when your entire personnel strategy is only hire people who are going to say yes to you and tell you exactly what you want to hear under all circumstances, that might lead to you getting bad intelligence sometimes.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not his political advisor.
Apparently not. He should be. 'Cause he's a pepper, so
Yes.
he should pay more attention.
Yes, that's really where we're up to with Iran at the moment. I also want to mention, proximate to this, there was a big announcement about a week ago that the Board of Peace, do you remember them?
Ah, the Board of Peace. They're the new UN, aren't they?
They are the
They've
new
replaced
UN.
the UN last I heard.
Yes.
Yes.
That they had come up with a Gaza peace plan.
Ah.
Yeah, Trump announced on social media, Hamas is going to disarm.
Did they?
No.
No. No. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Have we just not heard anything, or they're just...
Well, Hamas has said that a condition for that would be Israel withdrawing to the borders that were agreed in the October 2025 ceasefire.
And Israel would say, no, you disarm first.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will more exactly, we will disarm you by force first.
Yeah.
Yes. So Netanyahu hasn't actually said anything, but basically everybody else in the Israeli cabinet has said that is not going to happen. Not a single soldier is going to be moved. I think since that announcement was made, 28 people have been killed in Gaza. So, yeah, not happening.
Have to move the FIFA boss in there as well. He's the next line after the Board of Peace, isn't he?
Oh, yes.
Infantino with his Peace Prize.
Good old Infantino. I mean, I didn't put this in my grateful, but this would have been one of my gratefuls as well. That Infantino's plan to sell the World Cup
I know.
to Jared Kushner's brother fell apart very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Trumpification of FIFA has at least been halted temporarily. Okay. And Infantino actually looks like he's in a little bit of trouble as a result of that.
When we've got a double tangent treehouse in the one topic, we probably should move on.
Yes.
Let's move on, Dave. Let's move on to Todd Blanche. Now, this is my area. Todd Blanche, as we know, has been going for confirmation recently as the Attorney General. He's been the acting Attorney General since Pam Bondi left.
This is Trump's personal lawyer.
Yes, it is. And doesn't he act like it? He did face a surprising impediment in the Judiciary Committee. It has to go through the committee first, and then it goes to the General Senate.
Yep.
Two Republicans, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, coincidentally two of the Republicans that Trump has shivved in the back, they were both blocking Blanche's confirmation in committee. And that did surprise people, that not those two in particular, but that anyone did. And it especially surprised Trump, who had a little tantrum about it.
Yep.
He tweeted out, Todd Blanche is a star, and everyone knows it. He had the potential to go down as one of the greatest attorney generals of all time. However, John Cornyn of Texas and Tom Tillis of North Carolina, both of whom I refuse to endorse and whose political careers have been ended by my action, are refusing to vote for this great nominee who will remain in any event as acting. Remember, both Cornyn and Tillis vote for Merrick Garland and others too numerous to mention. I have no objection to temporarily withdrawing Todd's name if they do not do the right thing and putting him back after Cornyn and Tillis are out of office. President Donald J. Trump. Now, a lot of things about this didn't make much sense. Firstly, the next Senate is unlikely to be easier for Trump to get confirmations through than this one.
No.
That's if the Republicans hold the Senate at all. But also, why does Trump care whether they've confirmed Blanche? I have no idea why. As the Deputy Attorney General, Blanche can legally be acting Attorney General forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He has exactly the same powers as the Attorney General.
Yes.
So this is not required. This confirmation is completely unnecessary. I don't know if that's Trump ego tripping about being able to dominate Republicans in the Senate, which he quite likes to do, or if it's a reward to Blanche for his fine work, being a sycophant for the last 4 years.
Yep.
But Trump doesn't need this.
No.
Okay, so that's important to realise.
Yes.
Also, Tillis and Cornyn, they never had a very big ask.
No.
I'm going to go back to before all the documents were flying around.
Yep.
This is what Cornyn was saying at the time while Trump was having his tantrum. What I want is the written document to say the same thing that Todd Blanche did in his sworn testimony in front of the Judiciary Committee. And as you recall, what he said is the weaponization fund is dead. He said the audit immunity basically doesn't extend to parties beyond the lawsuit, and it doesn't also extend to future actions by federal agencies other than the IRS.
This, for those of you who might not remember, who have somehow managed to wipe this from your memories, this is the 1776 fund.
Yes.
So this is the $1.776 billion that was going to be set aside for victims of weaponization.
Yes.
And it was widely understood that that would be the J6 rioters, plus probably Blagojevich.
Yep. And the second part of that was also thrown in was an agreement that the IRS would not audit any of the parties or people associated with them taxes seemingly possibly ever.
Yes.
It was very, very vague.
And it was very wide as well.
Yeah. It wasn't just the IRS either. It was any department.
Yes.
So it was basically if Trump or any of his people potentially do any funny business with any government department, potentially, they were not going to be investigated. That was the fear.
Well, yeah, it wasn't even clear where it stopped. It was like businesses that have relationships with the Trumps.
Yeah.
That was probably going to include FIFA.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
They're everywhere these days. So then Blanche tweets out 2 documents. Let's look at those documents.
Okay.
We've got the first one here. It says the Attorney General's May 18, 2026 order establishing the Anti-Weaponization Fund is rescinded and shall have no force or effect. That's signed by Todd Blanche. And the other one is an unsigned document which says the May 19, 2026 order regarding a mutual release of claims applies by its terms only retroactively, and it's DOJ's interpretation that the order only has any effect, including on any release of claims on the named parties in the lawsuit referenced in the order.
Right.
Okay, so those 2 documents, by definition, are giving Cornyn exactly what he asked for.
Yes.
Theoretically.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to that.
Okay.
Do you have any thoughts you want to add before I break these down?
Yeah, just to point out that Cornyn was never demanding that these ridiculous immunities on principle be dropped.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no, he was never asking for that.
No.
These immunities given to the guy who ended his political career.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should remember as well, this is supposed to be a settlement for the injustice of someone leaking Trump's tax returns.
Yes.
Not that it has to do with anything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But this was supposedly the result of a settlement agreement for that.
Yeah.
Even though I can't emphasize enough that lawsuit had no merit whatsoever.
None.
Was going to get thrown out.
Yes.
There wasn't even going to get heard. It was going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
It was out of date. It was, I won't even go into details, but there were like 8 different reasons why that was going nowhere.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go through those 2 docs. The first one first, about the fund.
Yes.
Let's look at it again. This rescinding of the fund that you're seeing here makes no difference whatsoever. You don't need a settlement to pay out January 6s if you want to pay out January 6s.
That's right, yes.
You don't need a $1.776 billion fund. All you need to do is ask them to submit their claims under the Federal Tort Claims Act. Those claims are dubious, but guess what? The Department of Justice determines what claims have merit and which ones don't. I wonder what Todd Blanche will say. So the DOJ settles all those claims then.
Yep.
Pays out whatever the hell they want to pay out.
Yep.
Without any judicial scrutiny whatsoever. There you go. They're paid out. You don't need a settlement. This whole agreement is completely irrelevant.
Yes.
And in fact, hundreds of J6s are already in the process of doing exactly that.
Yes.
They're going to get their money if Trump wants them to get their money. That's just a fact. I'm sorry.
Yes.
There's literally only one way you can stop them. And guess where you need to be to stop them. You need to be in Congress or in the Senate, just like Cornyn and Tillis currently are. And what you need to do is pass legislation that doesn't allow that to happen. It's the only way you can stop it. Literally the only way. At one point, Cornyn spoke about doing that, and then he never mentioned it again. Then you've got the next problem. If we look at that document again, see who's signing it? Todd Blanche. Okay, that looks official, doesn't it? Here's the problem. As John Cornyn pointed out, the original settlement agreement stated, quote, it may be modified only with the written agreement of the parties. The original parties were the DOJ plus Trump plus his sons.
Right.
I don't see Trump's signature there.
No.
I don't see his son's signature there. There is no way this has any legal weight whatsoever with no signatures from Trump or his sons. You can't unilaterally alter a settlement agreement. So even if it was legit, that doesn't change it.
Right.
And trust me, Cornyn knows that. Do Do you know Cornyn's background before he was a senator?
He was a lawyer.
He was a judge.
Ah.
Not just a judge. He was the Texas Attorney General.
Right, yes.
He knows
Yeah.
that you can't change a settlement agreement without the agreement of the parties. So if Trump wants to pay off the January 6s, he absolutely can. And he clearly wants to. Trump is tweeting out shit like this at the moment. Perhaps there has never been a group of people treated so badly in our nation's history. They are suffering still, many ruined, and I felt that they should be given compensation for what's been done to them. I will always feel these victims of government abuse should be paid back for what they were forced to endure. Their lives have been ruined. Millions of people agree with me, as was proven by my landslide presidential win, where this was a major subject of debate. And so did John Cornyn until he lost his election to an opponent that I endorsed. Now, as an aside, Dave,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the J6's compensation was not a major topic of debate in the 2024 election.
No, that was actually the sort of thing that the Trump campaign was trying desperately to keep off the table.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know it wasn't a major source of debate, because if it was, Trump would have lost the 2024 election.
Yes.
and
Never has a group of people in our nation's history been treated so badly.
apparently.
I'm not even going to list any counterexamples.
I'm going to list one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you're right. There are so many.
Yeah. Yes.
But,
yeah.
but are you aware of what's been going on in Texas because of a shooting last year outside the detention center? Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, it was like there was a bunch of protesters. They
Yes.
set fireworks.
I have heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. Outside the detention center, the police came out. One of them shot the police officer in the shoulder. Didn't kill him.
Yes.
Wounded the police officer. Okay. Now look, you might say that was an ambush for the police. I'm not sure they've proven anything, but let's say it was an ambush.
Yep.
Throw the book at them. Absolutely, you can't go around ambushing police and shooting them.
Yes. Yeah.
The guy who did the shooting, do you know what his sentence was?
What?
It's a pretty thick book. 100 years.
Wow.
He got 100 years jail for shooting a cop. Now, look, I think that's pretty steep, 100
Yes.
years.
Yeah. Yep.
But in a weird kind of a way, I can understand Texas
Yes.
and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
You go, okay, whatever. Don't shoot cops in Texas. Okay, fine.
Yes.
But let's talk about the other sentences.
Yeah.
Because the people who just threw fireworks and did nothing else, didn't know, no guns, nothing like that, just making a nuisance of themselves, got between 50 and 70 years jail each.
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
And when one of them called her husband and told him to, quote, do whatever you need to do and move whatever you need to move at the house, and he got caught moving a box of Antifa pamphlets and materials. The judge gave him, what do you reckon? For moving a box of
200
pamphlets?
years.
30 years jail, which in a lot of places is more than murder.
Yes. Yeah.
30 years jail for moving a box.
Yes.
No complaints for Trump
No.
about them. I reckon the guy moving the box,
Yes.
I reckon got railroaded harder
I would say
than the
so.
dudes who planned J6 getting 20 years.
Yes.
Right. So, anyway, so that's my counterexample. But my point is, Trump is pretty sympathetic to these guys. In fact, he said this publicly as well.
I think people were horribly treated, horribly abused. This has nothing to do with that. This was me. Horribly abused. And I'd like to see them compensated for the pain. They lost their families. They committed suicide. Many people committed suicide.
Those people are going to be hard to compensate if they committed suicide. But for the record,
Yes.
4 people. I actually looked it up because
Yes.
I wonder if he's just completely making this
Yeah.
up. 4 people have committed suicide out of the J6s. You can decide for yourself how outrageous you think that is. I'll tell you, I worked it out because it's the kind of thing I do.
Yeah.
That is 2.5 times the expected rate of suicide for that number of people.
Right.
Just ordinary out of America.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the situation. You make up your own mind on that.
Yes. There are also several Capitol Hill police officers who committed suicide as well.
That's a good point as well. I wish I'd thought of that because I would have done the numbers on them as well.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, my point is Trump clearly wants to pay off the J6s still.
Yes.
And he can. Despite despite Blanche signing that doc. Blanche also told the Judiciary Committee he believes he's constitutionally obligated to follow Trump's instructions because Trump is the president. So no matter what he says,
Yes.
no matter what he signs, if Trump says do this, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first doc. Useless. Second doc. Let's look at that one again. Now, Tillis calls this a binding written statement. Why would you think that's binding on anyone? Who's that signed by, Dave? You might think we've cut it off. We haven't cut it off. That's the whole document.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Dave's silent is because it's signed by no one. No one. How is that binding? It literally has it's attributed to nobody. And how is it legitimate? Remember, this is from a settlement for a super dubious lawsuit based on nothing. It was a scam. So what kind of compromise allows Trump and his sons to avoid any kind of tax scrutiny for the last 5 or so years? That's the compromise.
Yeah.
For something which shouldn't exist in the first place. That agreement, need I remind you, was flatly illegal at the time. Blanche had no authority to agree on behalf of the IRS to not audit Trump. And the IRS never had anything to do with that agreement. Even if he did have the authority, he had an obvious conflict of interest as being Trump's lawyer. And so he should have recused himself.
Yep.
And by the way, the law bans Trump or his agents, like Blanche, from petitioning the IRS not to audit someone. So it's actually illegal.
Yeah.
And let's also be clear what this document means. We already know that Trump was playing dodgy with hundreds of millions of dollars in his tax returns because the leaks that were the basis of this lawsuit. This period also happened to cover a time when Trump was accepting literally billions of dollars of bribes.
Yes.
Literally. And we just found out from Capital One this week in a lawsuit that Trump may well have engaged in money laundering during this period as well. And this agreement says that he should go without any kind of scrutiny from the IRS for that period where he has hundreds of millions of dollars of dodgy money, plus bribes, plus money laundering. Dave, do you have any thoughts before I go on?
I mean, it's hard to know what even to say.
Sure.
At this point, other than this is just what we've come to expect from Trump. But there's going to be a special place in history for all of his enablers. Right? There are going to be a lot of people who essentially the entire historical entry on them is going to be Trump enabler. It doesn't matter that you were once Attorney General of a major state. You were a Trump enabler. Doesn't matter that you had a long career in Congress or a short career in Congress. You were a Trump enabler. Doesn't matter that you were a good family man. Doesn't matter that you were a good basketball coach. You were a Trump enabler.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Like what you enabled from a historical perspective is going to be pretty staggering.
Talking about which,
yes,
my question to you now
Yep.
is what were Tillis and Cornyn playing at? Why did they go through this? Why did we spend a week talking about them doing this when it made no difference whatsoever? And they knew it made no difference whatsoever. Why would they spend a week begging Todd Blanche to pretend to renounce the slush fund instead of just trying to push for a bill to kill the slush fund? If they care. And if they don't care, why are they bothering? I mean, some might argue they're never going to get a bill through and Trump will veto it. Sure. This is achieving nothing. Zero. Why? They were never going to force Trump to do something he didn't want to do.
No.
Because of what I said before. They held no cards.
Yeah.
He didn't care whether Todd Blanche was confirmed or not. So what's the point? They just waited a few days and then they folded. They were a mild speed bump. Why? Do you have any thoughts?
Maybe they just wanted to sort of bask in the glory of compliments from Joe Scarborough or something.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, it's a weird psychology.
Brief little mini resistance moment.
Do you think there's even potentially any point at all to this? Like that they might have missed it, but do you think there was a potential point?
I mean, maybe the potential point was perhaps just wanting to put some scrap of dignity on the table.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what I reckon.
Okay.
I reckon there was a point,
Mm-hmm.
and this was never their point.
Right.
But if I was in their position,
Mm-hmm.
I still would have gone for it, and not the way they did. but there was a potential point, and it's this: they have 6 months left to make a noise.
Yep.
Before they're gone.
Yes.
By taking a stand at any point in time,
Yep.
where they go, we're not going to let you have X.
Yes.
What they do is they create conflict. When you create conflict, you create press attention.
Yes.
And they could have used that press attention to embarrass Trump and to emphasize why this settlement was a joke. If they made a hard demand, not a bullshit demand, they said, we want you to renounce everything.
Yep.
To renounce and we want you all to sign it.
Yes.
That the whole settlement is null and void.
Yep.
That there is no slush fund and there is no immunity agreement. Zero.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're not getting a confirmation. If they said that,
Yep.
Trump would have said, tell us that walking. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's fine. They would spend a week saying that, explaining why the whole settlement's a joke and why they're taking that stand. They'll get media coverage. That's a week's media coverage that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten.
Yes.
To explain why the settlement's a joke. Because I think most people don't realise that and don't understand that because it's a legal technicality. If you are, say, an ex-attorney general, an ex-judge, you might be able to explain quite well to people why that's a joke. Cornyn was the perfect person to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. I would say you make a stand that isn't going to get you the demand because the demand doesn't matter anyway because Trump can work around it. But it buys you a week of publicity that you can use to smear this bullshit as much as possible. That is something that's worth doing.
Yeah.
You have no other cards. You have no other power. You have nothing else.
Yes.
But at least you're using what you've got.
Yeah.
That's not what they chose to do. Right?
Yep.
My guess is that the actual answer is they just like making deals, even if the deals are pointless. It's sad, but I can't imagine what else there is.
That is very much the Senate mindset.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Tom Tillis seems determined to get Blanche confirmed. I have no idea why. Did you see how he embarrassed himself with the Epstein survivors, for instance? Okay. They wanted to meet Tom Tillis to explain to him how badly Blanche had treated them.
Yeah.
Because Blanche treated them pretty badly,
Yeah.
the Epstein survivors.
Yeah.
This is what happened. It's on video.
What I'm hoping to do is I want to meet
Yes, we've been
not with the
dying to
attorneys,
you.
but with the survivors.
We would love that.
And have a discussion about
Yes.
next steps. Because the only thing I didn't hear in there, I want to see specific action items.
Yes.
And some of that could even have to do with the investigation.
Exactly. So that's why
Well,
we have this.
My office is right around the corner.
Okay.
If you go right in this first door here, I got to rush. I'm trying to meet
Okay.
Senator Grassley. He's on the floor.
Okay.
But I want to have that meeting.
We would love
but I
that.
don't want suits in the room.
Yeah.
I want
No,
victims
we just
and
want to
me.
talk to you. That would be
Yeah,
totally
okay.
fine.
You hear the desperation when they go, yes,
Yes.
yes. So they went to Tillis's office like he told them to.
Yes.
They arranged a meeting like he told them to.
Yep.
And this is what they say about that meeting. Senator Tillis publicly invited us on camera to come to his office and promised to meet with us. We did. We waited for 45 minutes in his lobby, only to be told by a staffer he would not meet with us after all. So he's pretty keen to confirm Blanche for
Yes.
some reason, all right? Because the thing is, with Todd, do you have any other thoughts before I go on about Todd Blanche?
Just that whole no suits, no lawyers thing.
Yeah.
That was really dodgy and really bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And not meeting him's pretty bad as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say that everything we've been talking about is pretty bad
Yes.
for Todd Blanche. But that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There are a million reasons not to confirm Todd Blanche if you have any integrity whatsoever. The 1,200 former DOJ employees have opposed Blanche's confirmation. Maybe say, well, they're partisan.
Yep.
Maybe. Blanche is the guy. He is the guy behind Comey being indicted for threatening the president's life with seashells. That's Blanche's indictment. At the time, Blanche says, rest assured, it's not just the Instagram post that leads someone to get indicted. We haven't seen a shred of other evidence so far.
He was claiming there was something other than the Instagram post?
Yes, he was saying there was more. We haven't seen anything else whatsoever. But what we have seen is an article from New York Times about how when they finally pulled Comey in and interviewed him in the FBI, the notes from that interview somehow found their way onto Air Force One for Trump to read, which is so improper. But yeah, so that's the one thing. Second thing, Blanche is the one who pushed to indict 6 congresspeople for accurately saying in a video that the Uniform Code of Military Justice says don't obey illegal orders, which it does. That's what it says. And it's also, by the way, a violation of free speech to arrest people for that shit.
Yep.
He's also the one who pushed for investigations of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell because Trump wanted them. He's also the one who made these comments last week at the prayer call by the White House Faith Office.
Rest assured that we're working, hand in hand with HHS and the FDA and the White House and President Trump's team to get permanent solutions so that the Dobbs decision becomes permanent in every single state. So that means that if states are allowing, if states have said we are going to protect the unborn and we're going to protect every life from the moment of conception, we're putting practices and policies in place so that other states and other organizations can't attack that, and they can't, do things like they're doing with mailing in mail order drugs and things like that. And it's a process that takes a lot of time, and that's why it's been 19 months and we don't have complete victory yet. But we will have victory, and victory will be soon, and it will be permanent.
For those who don't understand that, I will explain that in a second. But let me just say, Lockie, can you just bring it back up for a second without playing it? I just love that photo of him.
Oh, it's great, yes.
I could just watch that all day just for the photo. It's just,
it kind of looks like if Mark Cuban was facing serious charges.
It looks to me, I mean, that's a good call
Yes.
about Mark Cuban, but I was going to say, without drawing a comparison to any other person, it just looks to me, that's the only photo I've seen of anyone involved in the Department of Justice where it looks like they have full understanding of what they've done. That's what it looks to me like.
Yeah.
It looks like he really, really understands what he's made of his life. But anyway, to translate what he was saying there for those who don't speak slimeball,
Yes.
what he's saying is that he is going to start criminalizing mailing abortion pills nationally.
Yes.
Through the use of the Comstock Act, which we've been waiting for this to happen. That's the 19th century law that potentially regulates what you can mail.
Yes.
He's basically saying we are going to fix it so that you can't mail abortion pills anymore.
Yes.
And so that way that the states that have banned abortion don't need to worry about pills being mailed to them. But that's going to screw up the other states as well, the blue states. But he doesn't give a shit about that.
It is. Now, part of the context to this, which you may or may not be aware of, is that the number of abortions has increased since Dobbs.
Yeah.
Increased significantly since Dobbs, which is obviously something that anti-abortion activists are very upset about, but they've had limited success in actually being able to do anything about it. Partly because their political allies, they were just mainly concerned about getting the political victory They did not care at all about the actual number of abortions in the country. So the people who actually consider abortion murder and actually consider it a problem, they are still extremely upset. But so far they've had very little luck actually doing anything about it.
And Todd Blanche, as of last week, is promising them more luck. Also, with Blanche as Deputy and Acting Attorney General, the Justice Department gave courts inaccurate information nearly 100 times in Trump's first 14 months. How about that? So there's lots of good reasons to not confirm Blanche. And by the way, all those reasons I just told you
Yes.
were all cited by Susan Collins in her reasons why she can't vote to confirm Blanche.
Yes. They're probably, though, all reasons why Fetterman will vote for Blanche.
I wasn't even going to make that point, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
All I'll say is the fact that Susan Collins is going to vote against him is obviously a sign he's got the numbers.
Yes.
Because she never opposes an appointment unless she knows
That is true.
They've got the numbers.
That is the dirty secret of Susan Collins.
Absolutely. So anyway, so he's gotten through the committee on pars and lines because Cornyn and Tillis went with the deal. There's apparently going to be a vote either tonight or tomorrow. And because Susan Collins is voting against him, you can be pretty sure he's going to get the Attorney Generalship.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts on this topic?
No.
Nope. Well, why don't you talk to us about Poland?
Pressing thing to contemplate.
It really
Okay.
is.
Yes. So, Trump is actually, as of today, he's not quite at his lowest point in the polls. His lowest point in the polls came a few days ago when the New York Times polling average had his approval at 37%.
Right.
Now, if that sounds low to you, that's because it is
Yes.
very low. That's lower than his first term.
Yep.
That's lower than Biden was at this point.
Yep.
And Biden was not doing well.
This was at the peak of inflation for
Yes.
Biden.
Yeah.
9%.
Yeah, at this point. You've actually got to go back to Nixon's second term, and this was a few days before he was set to resign. Yeah. So it's pretty bad. But it's actually worse than it looks.
Before you go on, let me just
Yes.
say it's not just New York Times average. All the averages are showing the same thing. I've got a graph from the 50+1 average as well.
Yep.
Which has 36% approval, 61% disapproval there, which is a net score of -25.
Yes.
All the same things that Dave just said apply here as well. This is the lowest average of his two terms, etc.
Yep.
Even worse than January 6th.
Thing is, if you look at the polls that have good reputations, you're going to be very hard pressed to find one that is above 35. So Reuters Ipsos was at 35.
Yep.
The most recent Quinnipiac was at 32.
Which is the lowest Quinnipiac's had.
Lowest that Quinnipiac has had. However, he had an excellent poll from Marquette Law School. 40%.
Oh, that was big.
That was what dragged him up in the New York Times average from 37% to 38%.
It was 34% CNN as well and 33% AP.
Yes. But because
But well done. to
yes,
Marquette.
but because the RMG poll publishes nearly every day and always has him at 45, that's one of the things that that boosts the average.
Sorry, before you go on, can I also note, you mentioned the previous presidents, you mentioned Biden. I've got a graph of that as well, so you can see for yourself. So you can see Biden there. Biden's the dark blue line.
Yep.
You can see it almost has gotten down to Trump term 2, but not quite. Trump term 2 is the worst. And Trump term 2 is like 5 net points below Trump term 1 at this point in time. So that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
So take it
and
away.
look, even if, and it's completely fair to say that polls routinely underestimate Trump's support. That is absolutely right. But if you look at those kinds of margins that existed at a national level between what polls were reporting and what the vote ended up being, you're usually talking about 2 to 3 points, 4 at the most. So he's still in very, very low territory.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the presidential poll. Now, usually bad presidential polling is a very bad sign for the president's party going into the midterms.
Yes.
As is bad economic polling.
Yeah.
And the economic polling at the moment is absolutely terrible.
Yes.
In that Reuters Ipsos poll I mentioned that had Trump at 35%, for the first time since 2017, more people in that poll said that they trusted Democrats to handle the economy than Republicans. Now, don't get too excited about that. That was literally 37% to 36%. But it is significant that that was the first time since Trump's first term
Yes.
that, that people had actually said that.
Well, he polled very well on the economy in his first term.
He did poll very well in the economy in his first term.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's one of those things that in general, Republicans are usually ahead on that. It usually takes moments like the global financial crisis to knock them off.
And importantly, these things don't go backwards.
No.
When the government falls below the opposition,
Yep.
they stay below and they keep going further below.
Yes.
So this is not just bad news for the midterms for the Republicans, but it's particularly bad news for 2028
Yes,
because that's not going to turn around.
that's right. Now, there was the last University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment poll did have a significant increase between June from 45 to July to 55. But that was because of the Memorandum of Understanding. That was because people thought that oil and gas prices were going to come down. I suspect that when the August one is released, which should be around August 16th, that some of those, if not all of those gains in consumer sentiment are going to be gone. Just something that I want to point out is oil and gas prices have actually not gone up as much as has been widely predicted by experts in this field as a result of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
We've passed their predictions on constantly and they've just been wrong over and over again.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, the reason for this is, despite everything, people keep expecting this to end. Okay? And, with good reason. Trump keeps, it's mostly like he keeps saying that, Iran's begging for a deal, but we'll just keep going. But it's clear he's desperate for an end to this.
Literally, the first thing I read when I started reading again was Trump saying that again.
Yes.
I thought, how many of these did I miss? How many of these weekends did I miss?
Yes.
Where he goes, there's about to be a deal. Iran desperately need a deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone is expecting it to end because it is so obviously politically damaging to Trump. That is actually what's keeping the price of oil and gas down. You could actually look at this as a remarkable political achievement for someone who hasn't managed to end it for 4 months. He's managed to keep enough hope alive that he will.
There's one more thing.
Yes.
That's influenced the petrol prices, which I can't believe I haven't mentioned before now. Maybe I have. I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Which is China.
Yes.
Which is China has the most enormous strategic reserve.
Yep.
I don't know how many billions of gallons it's got. It's got very, very big strategic reserve. And people did not predict that China would just be dipping into that constantly.
Yeah.
And so China, during this entire period, had this much less demand on oil than people expected.
Yeah.
And that has affected prices.
Yeah.
That's meant there's less demand for oil, so the prices have been lower.
Yep.
Now, whether China has done that as a favour to the world, or I don't know why, but people did not expect that.
That's right.
And they're still doing it. They have a very big strategic reserve.
Yep.
So now it can't last forever,
No.
but apparently it can last for a few more months yet.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Anyway, the whole point being, things could conceivably get worse.
Oh, yes. Yes, they could.
Yeah.
On petrol prices, I saw a really interesting graph about that. It was from G. Elliott Morris. He's the 50 plus 1 guy. The observation he was making is that petrol prices affect approval ratings, but mostly in one direction,
Right.
the bad one.
Yes.
Right? They get very sticky. And this is his graph, which I'm going to have to explain because it's a bit confusing. All right? Even if you can see it, it's confusing. If you can't see it, oh my God, this will be confusing. I'm going to do my best for you, okay? What we've got here is petrol prices versus petrol prices per gallon versus approval rating, net approval rating.
Yep.
All right. And what we're seeing, so not approval, this net approval rating on inflation. So that your approval of how the Trump is handling inflation or the cost of living.
Yep.
Now, to try and make the curves move in the same direction, they've reversed the petrol prices. So as the petrol prices go up, the curve goes down. You see what I mean? Okay, it's confusing, but this is good where it's going. So let's talk. So if you're watching this, look at the brown line. The brown line is the petrol prices. You can see when the war hits in March, the curve goes down very rapidly because petrol prices go up very rapidly.
Yes.
Okay? At the same time as petrol prices going up very rapidly, approval rating on inflation goes down very rapidly. So the green line, which is approval rating on inflation, goes down very rapidly at the same time, exactly the same time as the brown line, the petrol prices inverse goes down very rapidly, right?
Yep.
So far, so good. Then we have the Memorandum of Understanding.
Yes.
Petrol prices bounce back down, which means the curve goes up.
Yes.
Because the opposite, right? You'd expect the green line, which is the approval, to go up as well because petrol prices have gone down. But look what happens.
Yeah.
It does nothing for ages, and then there's a tiny little blip back up.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the petrol prices start going up again, in this case the curve's going down because they're inverted, you can see the blip just disappears immediately. It goes right back down to the bottom where it was before.
Yes.
So every time what's that telling you is every time petrol prices go up, there's a huge effect downwards on the approval rating of inflation and cost of living.
Yep.
But when the petrol prices go back down again, it does almost nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So even though it could be a lot worse for Trump, the hopes that you keep seeing this repeated in the media, that Republicans have still got they're still hoping that the war will end quickly and then gas prices will come down by the election. First of all, they're not going to come down to pre-war levels before the election. Second, the damage has been done.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. Look at that tiny little bump. It's too late.
The damage has been done politically. Okay, so what is the extent of this damage as far as the midterm elections go? Well, as we've mentioned before, Democrats aren't actually streaking as far ahead of Republicans as you might expect, although the gap is beginning to widen a bit. We mentioned before that Reuters poll.
Yeah.
37% say Democrats are better at handling the economy than Republicans.
Yes.
That's a tiny amount given what's actually been going on in the US economy over the last few years.
Well, remember the Democrats took a lot of damage.
They did.
In the middle of the Biden administration.
They did, right?
Yeah.
So the Democratic brand is damaged. And none of the polls I've seen suggest that Democrats are, anywhere near popular, right? I think the Democratic Party's approval rating is somewhere around 33%, which reflects the fact that a lot of people who identify as Democrats disapprove of the Democratic Party. So what we saw on the generic congressional ballots for a long time was this consistent margin of about 5%, which would be enough to win 5 points.
Yes.
Right? So you often see Democratic support somewhere between 42 and 47%. Republican support about 5 points below that, depending on the poll. Now, bearing in mind that because of redistricting, Democrats probably need to win by 3 to 4% nationally. It's not just because of redistricting. That is just also taking into account the natural geographic advantages that Republicans have. In fact, that right-wing parties around the world have. So 3 to 4%. So 5% is enough to win it, but not to create a huge margin. Bearing in mind, though, that we haven't seen huge margins in the House of Representatives for quite a while. We haven't seen anyone with a big margin in the House of Representatives since the Democrats won big in 2018. Ever since then, it's been tiny margins in both directions.
Yep.
So that reflects the fact that the Democratic brand is a bit damaged. However, we are now starting to see bigger margins. So in July, at one point, the margin, this was according to Silver Bulletin, because New York Times doesn't do averages of this, but Silver Bulletin does.
Yep.
that average actually got up just above 7%.
Yep.
Yes. But then that quickly went back down to close to 5%. It is now back up to 6.4%.
Okay.
And you're now seeing some polls that are putting that a lot higher, like 10 or 11%. So Silver Bulletin is suggesting it's going to go up further. That actually would be a pretty comfortable margin. It would equate a pretty comfortable margin of victory.
I can put that in different terms for you, Dave.
Yes, please do.
50 plus 1 has begun their probabilities.
Oh, yes.
Like when we get close to elections,
Yep.
these aggregators like to have probabilities of success
Yep.
success for each party.
Yes.
And the last I saw, they gave the Democrats an 87% chance of winning the House.
Right.
So that's a pretty comfortable victory. Doesn't mean it's going to be massive victory.
No.
But a pretty comfortable victory. And, wait for it, a 54% chance of winning the Senate. So that is interesting.
That's more than I give it personally, but I am not a professional handicapper.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll be talking of it. We'll be going to the Michigan corner pretty soon.
Yes, yeah.
But I would just say that I don't want. We're going to talk about 2026
Yes.
elections next, PEP.
Yep.
Because we've got lots of other things to talk about now.
Yep.
Other than what happened this week.
Yes.
But let me just say, just briefly, I think Alaska, Ohio, and North Carolina are all looking pretty good for Democrats.
Though, yes, they are. They are.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so
Those are big ones.
And so, really, the question is going to be, when we get to Michigan corner, do they hold Michigan?
Yeah.
Given the events of this week, and secondly, do they take Maine?
Yes.
And if they do take Maine and they hold Michigan, they're there.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'll just to preview this by saying I think Alaska and Maine are actually both very hard to poll.
They are.
Yes.
They are, which is one of the reasons no one ever talks about Alaska.
Yes, yeah. So they're kind of, but both of those are wild cards.
Yeah, but I've just got a lot of faith in the candidate in Alaska.
Okay.
So I'm
Yes.
pretty confident about that.
Yes.
But did you have other polls that you want to talk about?
Not really.
Okay.
No, but I just did want to make another point about
Yeah,
the
sure.
midterms is I have seen a few articles in various places saying that the Republican money advantage is going to be very important. For those of you who are not aware, the Republican money advantage is massive.
It is.
Yeah, it's like twice as much as what the Democrats have. In fact, Clinton Fernandez, who I've mentioned before, he writes these Sydney Morning Herald articles that make very big claims. Clinton does not go small. Now, it would have been a sub-editor who came up with a headline like, I think it was something like the 5 billion reasons Trump will win the midterms, which was talking entirely about the money advantage. But he brought out this stat. I'm not sure where he got it from, but it sounds plausible, saying 92% of the time, whoever spends the most money wins the election in the US. Now, what I would say is that does sound plausible, but that correlation doesn't mean that it is the money spend that is causing them to win. There are huge bandwagon effects when it comes to campaign finance because people are going to give money to the candidate that they think will win in order to get favours in return.
Yep.
And also, often candidates getting more money reflects the fact that they're more popular. It reflects the fact that there's a lot more enthusiasm.
And there's one more thing.
Yes.
And that is that most of the elections in America
Yes.
are, at the federal level at least,
Yep.
are in the House.
Yes.
Because there's most seats.
Yes.
You know what most of those seats have in common? They're gerrymandered.
Yeah.
And they're very safe seats.
80% of them are safe seats. Yes.
80%, 85%.
Yeah.
and you know who gets the most, raises the most money every single time?
The incumbents.
The incumbents.
Yes.
So that's a bullshit stat.
Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, it sounds plausible, but the causation isn't really there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I do have one question about all this
Yes.
approval rating you're talking about.
Yeah.
How do you account for the fact that everything you just said is wrong?
Oh, damn it. I thought I was going to get away with it. We were so close to the end of this segment, and I thought, yes, I'm going to get away with it. No one's going to notice that everything I'm saying is blatantly false.
One person noticed.
Who was it?
It was the nation's preeminent pollster, Donald Trump.
Oh!
My real polling numbers, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they've ever been. And why wouldn't they be with the biggest tax cuts and employment numbers ever? The biggest outside investment in America in world history. A totally secure border, a giant victory in Venezuela. The denuclearization of Iran, unparalleled respect and success throughout the world, and much more? Question mark. Much more? Don't believe the radical left's fake poll numbers. He's talking about you, Dave. They are crooked and corrupt, just like the country-destroying Democrats are crooked and corrupt. Vote Republican for greatness in America. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT.
By the way,
What's your response?
every second article in Politico is something about Republicans quietly pleading with the White House. Can you please talk about the tax cuts? Please, please just talk a little bit about the tax cut. Please, when you go to an event in Nevada or somewhere to talk about tax cuts, please talk about the tax cuts and not the fucking ballroom or the fact that someone supposedly destroyed the reflecting pool. Please.
That's their tweet.
Please talk about the tax cuts.
Do you reckon it helped? There's your tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You not convinced?
It's going to take a bit of convincing.
Okay, that's all right. I'll keep following his polling numbers.
Okay.
For you on Truth Social, and I got one more other interesting little polling nugget from Fox News. This one.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Fox News, they had an approval rating amongst MAGA Republicans for Trump.
Yep.
98% to 3%.
Okay.
98% approval, 3% disapproval. That's not a big surprise.
No.
Amongst non-MAGA, would you care to guess the approval rating?
I'm going to say 75%.
75%? This is non-MAGA Republicans we're talking about here.
Yeah.
51%.
Whoa. Okay. That is, that's a bit of a decline.
51 to 49. That's non-MAGA Republicans.
Now, there aren't that many of them out
No, there
there.
aren't, but it's just interesting.
Yes.
Like, and that is that's indicative, I think, of independence as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm not saying independents are 51 to 49. I'm saying that means independents are real low. Right?
Yeah.
Approval of the president's handling the economy. 83 to 17 for MAGA. 38 to 62 for non-MAGA Republicans. Approval of president's handling inflation. 72 to 26 for MAGA. 28 to 72 for non-MAGA Republicans.
Yeah.
How about handling Iran? 83 to 16 for MAGA Republicans. 37 to 63 for non-MAGA Republicans. Now, that doesn't sound great, but would any of those people actually vote Democrat? Because they're non-MAGA Republicans. They might just stay at home.
Yep.
They might not. That doesn't mean they're going to support the socialist Democrats.
No.
Fox state polls suggest they might.
Really?
In Texas, Tallarico is ahead of Paxton by 3 points generally for Fox. 24% of non-MAGA Republicans support Tallarico.
Jesus.
In North Carolina, Roy Cooper leads by 9. 21% of non-MAGA Republicans support Roy Cooper. In Iowa, Josh Turek leads by 4. 23% of non-MAGA Republicans support Josh Turek. And in Georgia, John Ossoff leads by 13. 23% of the non-MAGA Republicans support John Ossoff. And by the way, once again, we'll talk about 2026 elections later on, but John Ossoff is someone I'm watching.
Yes.
For a potential Democrat candidate in 2028.
Totally, yes. Yeah.
Anyway, my point is the non-MAGA right.
Yes.
There might not be many of them. You don't need many of them.
No, that's true. Yes.
Like if 4% or 5% of Republicans switch Democrat, that is an absolute landslide.
Yes.
So just have a look out for that one.
That is very true.
Yeah. All right, that's enough polling. So let's turn to someone who, oh my God, we didn't even introduce you. Lucky. How's your holiday, mate?
Oh yeah, hi. I'm in. It was good. I had a lovely. How many days was it?
It was about a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Time flies.
Seems like it felt like a lot less to you there, mate.
I had a wisdom tooth ripped out.
Oh, that's
So that sunk a week.
well. It makes you eminently more suitable for this podcast.
Did
if you've lost your wisdom?
Did you at least get the general anaesthetic though?
No.
Oh,
local.
ripped off.
Local.
Tough guy.
And out, yeah. And then I spent the rest of my time reading Chaz's 2,000-word reviews on Letterboxd.
They're not that long. Yeah, they are. They are that long. Well, yeah, I was on holiday. Lockie, nice to see you again. I'm just giving you notice. I am about to go to a sting. So
I'm ready.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Janine Pirro, take it away.
Janine Pirro's nest.
Let's move on to the judge.
That's Dan, right? Yeah, of course it is. Thanks, Dan. I feel like that the eagle poo at the end was just a bit too much. That's like a boing.
No, it wasn't too much.
That's a comic sound effect.
It's not enough.
I love it still. Thank you, Dan. All right, let's talk about Janine Pirro. Now, you might recall, Dave, on July 2, Janine Pirro held a press conference.
I remember this. One of the all-time greats.
Yeah, she spoke all about a particular indictment against three-time Olympian Davey Hearn. He was a scandalous vandal. They caught him red-handed, vandalizing the reflecting pool. He was the one who was at fault for the algae
Yes.
by ripping up the lining. They never explained that, but he was at fault somehow. Now, he said he was just cycling around, but they said no, he was cycling around looking for an opportunity to destroy the pool. He said he just touched the lining and it was already peeling. That's what he said, which sounded likely because at that point we'd heard about the pool liner peeling for like days.
Yes.
It was like the fourth day we'd heard about this.
Yes.
But no, he is the one who tore it all up. It was perfect until he got there and he was charged with a felony.
Because, like, Olympians are just notoriously anti-establishment,
Yes.
aren't they?
They're rebels.
Yeah.
Yes.
They hate America.
And they hate pools.
Yeah, they hate pools. They love vandalism. They love rule breaking of all kinds.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
You can't
Cannot trust
them
an
down.
Olympian.
No, do not. So he was charged with a felony. At the same time, they include three other people with. They indicted three other people with destruction of property less than $1,000. That's not a felony. That's a misdemeanor. He was charged with destruction of property more than $1,000. That's a felony.
That piece of blue paint,
Yes.
more than $1,000.
Oh, but wait, Dave. The evidence is coming.
Okay.
Don't you fear. They laid those indictments on July 2, which cynics would have said seems a bit of a coincidence. That's the last working day before July 4, which is when the pool had most attention dedicated to it, and Trump might have wanted an excuse for why it looks shit.
Yeah.
That's what a cynic would say, but not me, because Janine Pirro was in charge. And if you can't trust her, who can you trust, even though she poos like an eagle? It's almost... it was almost like there was a cynical purpose to this indictment, but I don't believe them. Yet, even during my holiday, we heard nothing about these charges again until July 31st, just when I came back on board, when Pirro filed to the court that they wished to drop the indictment against Hearn. Now, that might surprise you. That might shock you. I can tell it shocks you. You look shocked.
It does.
Unless you're about to do another
I thought he was
impression
going
of
to
Joe
get
Biden.
the chair.
Yes. Well, everyone if we're being honest, everyone knew these charges were bullshit, even at the time. Ryan Riley from NBC News, actually on the day of the indictment, asked Pirro during the press conference
Yes.
directly about the fact that everyone kind of knew the sealant was already peeled back before Hearn went anywhere near it.
Yep.
And this is what she said.
Was the sealant already partially removed? Did he rip it back and just describe in detail? Because he maintains that it looks the same as it did before he arrived. That's his.
I'm not going to get into the evidence, but what I told you is what our witnesses saw and experienced. There was an effort, a violent effort, to rip up the sealant from the bottom of the pool. And irrespective of whether or not, we think that, there is some situation that preceded it, we can state and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he caused damage, and that damage is over $1,000.
Keying in on that, how do you prove that $1,000?
With an expert.
Is that because
come to the trial?
It has to be drained? Is that because it has to be drained?
We'll hear all that at the trial.
Did he have any tools, or was it just his bare hands?
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he...
he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Before he touched it?
He damaged this pool.
So that's pretty definitive, Dave.
She still reminds me of the judge from Serial, the first season.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is going back a long time. This is going back 12 years now. And for those of you who don't remember, podcasts were not a huge thing back in 2014. Serial
pre-PEP.
Yeah. Serial was one of the first ones that really... just really hit it big. And it was this story of this criminal investigation 15 years after the fact in Baltimore. But do you remember the judge in that from the original trial?
I don't.
She sounded a lot...
Was she drunk?
She sounded drunk. Okay. Were you stepping out with Stephanie? Anyway, that's one very nostalgic time. Like that I think was the first podcast I ever listened to, and still the piano music still fills me with nostalgia. But anyway, that's what she reminds me of.
No wonder you're such a big Janine Pirro fan.
That's right.
I want to focus on a couple of aspects of that quote we just heard. First of all, is her describing the peeling as violent. I think she has this vision of like
violent peeling,
like the cyclist might have a scream mask on or something, like a scythe. Like I don't know how you can peel something violently.
Oh, look,
punch it while you peel.
I have peeled plenty of bananas pretty violently.
Yeah, just devastation.
That's right.
But secondly,
you can't hide from me.
Yes. I want to focus in on this quote of hers. Irrespective of whether or not we think that there is some situation that preceded it, we can state and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he caused damage, and that damage is over $1,000.
Yep.
Now, at that same presser, she said NPS employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands. Don't think of those two quotes. On July 31st, they said in their filing, they had information showing that the damage was the result of a botched installation and not vandalism. Now, how could you justify that change in position? If you got the evidence to begin with, how do you not have the evidence a month later?
She seemed pretty confident.
She did. She
was trash talking that journalist. She was saying, "Come to the trial."
Yeah, they ain't
you'll
gonna be
see
one.
the evidence.
Yeah, well, it turns out she blames the Department of the Interior. This is what they wrote in their filing. Here's a quote. Department of the Interior represented that nearly all of the damage to the reflecting pool was due to vandalism, with only a small portion due to unidentified other causes. And then they said, however, the information subsequently demanded by USAO, as the attorney's office, disclosed by the DOI, which was not known to the prosecutors or the grand jury before the return of the indictment, strongly suggests that a rushed and botched installation by AIC, the primary contractor, led to the damage to the lining of the reflecting pool. It was not until the USAO DC, that's the attorney's office, repeatedly reached out to DOI dozens and dozens of times. That DOI slowly started trickling information to USAO DC. Had DOI been forthcoming with the information clearly in his possession, the government would not have sought a grand jury indictment. So she's explicitly blaming them. Now, that doesn't pass a smell test because obviously NBC News on the day of the indictment knew there was enough information that there was a problem. But anyway, Pirro was completely lying about her witness in that quote, obviously.
Yep.
And remember how she said the witness would prove that more than $1,000 of damage had been done. What we didn't know at the time, but we now know from the court filings about the grand jury testimony. The grand jury testimony, by the way, that happened 3 hours before that press conference that she held then, was that the government, I'm going to quote one of the judicial proceedings on this one. The government's witness could not identify the repairs necessary to address damage allegedly caused by Mr. Hearn. The witness testified that the repairs at issue would have been necessary regardless of Mr. Hearn's alleged conduct. The government's estimated repair range, $6,000 to $15,000, was based on the size of an area rather than on damage attributed to any particular act by Mr. Hearn, and the government's witness expressly confirmed that the same estimated range of repairs, $6,000 to $15,000, would still have been necessary before the defendant interacted with the pool. That's what they heard 3 hours before that press conference when she said her witness would prove that there was more than $1,000 damage from Mr. Hearn. Now you might go, well, that's an outright lie then. Not quite.
Okay.
Because the grand jury noticed this at the time, given they were being asked to indict him for a felony which required $1,000 damage. And they said, hang on, your key witness has just said there wasn't $1,000 damage from Mr. Hearn. What's going on? So the government then recalled their expert 21 minutes later to come back for more testimony. And then they said the damage attributable to Mr. Hearn was definitely more than $1,000, directly contradicting what they'd said 21 minutes earlier. That's their expert witness.
Wow.
So maybe she wasn't lying when she was doing our press conference, but she was dodgy as hell.
Yeah.
Right. So she misleads the journos in that press conference with how certain she is about the expert testimony. And in fact, they're lying in their filing even now when they write, armed only with DOI's representations that defendant caused more than $1,000 of damage to the reflecting pool, USAO DC presented evidence to a District of Columbia Superior Court grand jury. That representation came after they presented their evidence, not before. So they're lying there too. Also, there were photos taken of the loose flap in the pool by park employees both before and after Hearn touched it. Shall we look at those photos? Here's the before. That's 2 hours before. You can see the flap is loose under the water. That's before Hearn approached the side of the pool. And this was a couple of minutes after Hearn touched the flap. You can see the flap still there. Hasn't changed much. Those photos aren't wonderful resolution, but you can clearly see the flap both times. Now, the DOJ say that the DOI didn't hand those photos over to them until after their indictment.
Yeah, sure.
They said they got those photos on July 17.
Yes.
But even according to them, July 17, Dave, is 2 weeks before they dropped the charges.
Yes.
So even by their own story, they kept the charges going 2 weeks longer than necessary.
Well, we are talking about the same DOJ that says their investigation into Comey's seashells photo took 11 months.
Still going, mate.
They're
still collecting all that evidence that isn't Instagram post.
Yeah. So speed, maybe not their thing.
Sure.
Accuracy, also not their thing. But press conferences, unbeatable.
Very much their thing.
Yes.
By the way, as a little side, July 17 is an interesting date. The date they say they got that photo. I'll tell you why. That is the date they needed to charge someone arrested on July 2.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't need to do that indictment straight away.
No.
They could have waited another 2 weeks while they gathered evidence. Because clearly they had no evidence. Once again, cynics would say they were just trying to get the indictment out before July 4. But July 17 was the date they needed to actually lay an indictment by, if they were going to lay an indictment.
Yeah.
So let's say the DOJ are the most gullible people on earth. They had no reason to doubt that the information they were provided was good. Mm-hmm. They still need to prove their case in court.
Yep.
They clearly had no proof, according to their own filing. So why did they charge them right away rather than gather more evidence? I should say as well that even if you take Pirro at her word, they rushed the indictment without, and this is in their own filing.
Yeah.
Without any evidence. And they knew the charges were dubious before they even needed to make the indictment, July 17. But then they rushed them and, okay, so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts so far?
No.
No, okay. Much like Drilling Pirro.
I was going to say.
No thoughts. Now, for what's worth, the Department of Interior say the DOJ are lying, which I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they knew it was a bullshit indictment.
Yes.
But they say they're lying for the opposite reasons. They say they actually proved that it was vandalism.
Really?
DOI, even today, say they handed out all the evidence. They said there's heaps of evidence that's vandalism. Quote, we also provide the U.S. Attorney's Office expert and eyewitness testimony to the damage done by vandals and provide every piece of evidence they asked for in the requested timeline detailing each area of damage at the pool. So according to them, the evidence exists and the DOJ ignored it for some reason.
These are the photos of the invisible vandals.
Yes.
This is the footage.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah.
Footage is coming.
Okay.
Footage is coming because once again, just like there's a chief pollster in America, there's also a chief investigator.
Yes, yeah.
And he's bringing some evidence for us.
Yep.
But, they also dropped the charges against the other three supposed vandals.
Yep.
I should add, a couple of days afterwards. That's Justin Carino, Sophie Dennison-Gibby, and Cameron Thurs. And you might say, well, no harm done, no foul. They didn't go to jail. They didn't have a trial.
No.
What's the big deal? A lawyer for Justin Carino told CBS News that Carino lost his job as a government contractor because of his arrest.
That sucks.
What sucks more is he couldn't pay the rent because he lost his job. So he was booted out of his house. He lost his home.
Is appalling.
For a bullshit charge.
Yep.
To soothe Trump's ego. It ruined some random dude's life. He isn't even an enemy.
Yeah.
Usually Trump tries to ruin his enemies' lives. In this case, it's just a random dude standing next to the pool.
Yeah.
Whose life he ruined. So that sucks. What do you reckon Trump has to say about this all? Sorry, the chief investigator. What he says is, I disagree 100% with Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, on the reflecting pool. I don't know what she was thinking. To me, it was a pure case of vandalism. There may have been some contractor difficulty, but the major damage was caused by vandals. Now, you might be wondering how he can be so sure, Dave.
Yeah. Where is the evidence?
I'm glad you asked. Let's go Truth Social. He says, look for yourselves at the vandalism that took place at the reflecting pool. The material is being cut with a knife or a box cutter for all to see. Okay, now, we've got some listeners here. So, Dave, I'm going to need to get you to commentate what you're seeing. What is here for all to see? Are you ready to see the vandalism with a knife or box cutter?
Okay.
Which Trump talks about.
Yes.
You're sitting down. People at home, please sit down as well. This is going to shake you to your core.
Yeah.
Dave, get ready to narrate. Lockie, go.
Okay, so I can see people walking around. Oh, someone's putting a hand in the pool.
Yep.
They don't appear to be holding anything.
Yes.
And that the hand doesn't seem to be extending very far into the pool.
Yeah.
Look, it's possible that they're a cyborg
Yeah.
and that they had some very long, sharp blade sort of
extended out
that
of
could
their
be
hand.
extended.
Kind of like a T100.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yes.
Because you're right. The hand only went, if anything, a few inches into the pool.
Yes.
And as you can see, when he pulls his hand out, there is no knife or box cutter.
No.
So that's interesting. But look, there's more.
Okay.
Get ready to narrate the second part.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yep. Okay, so nobody. Oh, okay. No, someone's kneeling down.
Yep.
Next to the pool, and once again, what?
Hand went in.
Hand went in and then came out very quickly.
Hand went in, came out.
Yeah.
And then she got up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I didn't see a knife or
No.
a box cutter.
It was pretty quick cutting. The hand was only in for a few seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty slick.
But look, I've been reading René Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy.
Yeah. What do they say
He
about
makes
vandalism?
the point,
Yes.
your senses deceive you all the time. So you can't be certain of anything. That's why I said the only thing I can be certain of is that I exist, because the fact that I'm having these thoughts at all means that someone has to exist to have them. If I can be deceived, then I must exist. I think this is just an entirely reasonable Cartesian interpretation
Honestly.
of what we're seeing.
Honestly, when I read Trump's tweet, this is the evidence.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I do exist.
Okay.
I don't even know that. Now, look, I don't want to sell you short. The video does go on. There are two more instances.
Oh, okay.
But they're pretty much the same.
Right.
So that's basically the level of the evidence that Trump tried to ruin the lives of 4 random people with.
But the thing is, I've just sent Lockie the slam dunk photographic evidence.
Oh, really?
Of who was actually responsible for this.
I can't wait to see this.
Lockie, put it up.
It's the lockiness monster.
That's right. There you go.
Do they have a box cutter?
That
though?
is all the evidence we need.
Well, look, I will say this. That's better evidence than the other video, because at least the Loch Ness Monster is in the water for more than 2 seconds. So that makes perfect sense. Look, if you think I'm putting words in Trump's mouth about that tape, I'm not. This is what he has to say about it.
And if you look at the tape, now the tape isn't a great tape in the sense that it's a little hard to say who it exactly was, but it was people cutting this very expensive material, waterproofing material.
Was it people cutting the expensive material? I don't think it was. Anyway, that was the day after the tweets. Still angry, still raging about Judge Jeanine. He went on an absolute rampage at that press conference about Judge Jeanine.
He really did.
You've seen this?
Yeah.
I will play it for the Peppers.
And I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. Really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella, and people get away with things, and it's a disgrace. Because the judge was extremely unfriendly to Jeanine, and frankly, I think she choked. Because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
Are you reconsidering her role?
I don't know what. You don't. You're fake news. Don't ever talk again. You're fake news. One of the worst in the business. Fortunately, nobody watches you.
He sounds like a college football coach who's about to get fired 6 hours later.
He does. I was going to say, I love how just if you're in some kind of doubt as to whether he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
He just lets you know by being a prick to a journalist.
Yes.
Whenever he does that, you know, he's feeling the pressure. Right, okay. Okay. So yeah, he's a bit sensitive. That's a good call about the college football coach. This is basically all I got on this topic. But I remember at the beginning, you were talking about the fact that he's now starting to he's having one underling playing off against another underling, saying, "Oh, they're the ones who betrayed you, not me."
Yes,
and he's starting to get a bit pissed off about this.
Yes.
So do you want to talk more to that?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Jeanine Pirro was determined not to take this lying down. Now, whatever else you want to say about Jeanine Pirro when it comes to defending her own reputation, she can be pretty robust. So she wasn't going to say, oh, sorry, sir, blah. No. She had a meeting with Trump and Doug Burgum. So Doug Burgum, you might remember, he was one of the 3 people being considered as a possible vice presidential candidate. In fact, I think he was basically the bookies' favorite for it because he was the biggest nobody in the field. But no, instead, he got the Secretary of the Interior job. So Jeanine Pirro turned up to this meeting reportedly, literally, with a roller bag full of evidence.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was completely full of evidence or whether it was just the sort of TV performance.
Evidence and bourbon.
Yeah. And, she certainly is a very good TV performer. So she made sure that she was seen rolling this evidence into the White House. And reportedly, it was an extremely testy meeting where she accused Doug Burgum of misleading both her and the president, of saying that there was all of this evidence that the Department of Interior claimed was there and it just wasn't there. So she was actually doubling down on what she was saying. She wasn't saying, oh, no, look, we got screwed by some judge or something like that. She was saying, no, we were just misled by your appointee about the vandalism. There actually was no vandalism. That's something quite unusual coming from a Trump appointee pushing back that much. But Jeanine Pirro, she has seen by this point that if you're a woman in the Trump administration and you can be scapegoated, you will be scapegoated and you will get fired. And there's no way of ducking that. The only way to do it is to fight back. So I'm kind of rooting for her at this point.
It's really innovative for a Trump cabinet member or underling who gets into some kind of scandal to fight back by arguing something that kind of corresponds to the truth.
Yes.
That's very unusual.
Very unusual. Now,
it's very innovative.
Don't get me wrong. She's awful. She never should have been appointed. But the thing is, she has actually done a lot of the things that Trump wanted her to do in terms of she was supposedly put there to clean up DC. And she actually, I won't say her directly, but the results that Trump wanted in DC in terms of the crime numbers, they've actually come pretty close to being achieved.
Yep.
I'm not saying it was all her, but, on that measure, you would have thought that she's been successful. What she keeps failing on are things that are absolutely impossible.
Yes.
She failed to get the indictment for the guy throwing the sandwich at the cops. She failed to get the indictment for the 6 members of Congress saying an outright legal truth on video. She failed to get she didn't even bother trying with this one. She gave up in the end. Grand juries keep going against her because of the fact that they're being asked to indict people for completely absurd things. That's what Trump is getting upset about. The fact that there are actually legal limits in existence that are still recognised.
And just quietly, I think she's probably trying to do him a favour here.
Yes.
Because
by not letting these things go to trial.
Well, I was going to say, remember what I told you about the grand jury?
Yeah.
How that their expert witness testified one thing.
Yeah.
They brought him back 21 minutes later and he testified to something else.
Yes.
I reckon the judge will have some questions about it.
They probably would.
And I don't think those questions will work out real well.
No.
For the Department of Interior and their expert witness.
No.
So I think she's trying to make everything go away.
Yes.
Because she knows they've been caught with their ass out. Because normally those grand jury, what goes on in the grand jury stays in the grand jury. It's a bit like Vegas. Right? It's but increasingly over time, since the Department of Justice is so dodgy these days, judges just don't trust the grand jury anymore.
No.
They just go, you guys probably lied to them.
Yes.
You guys probably misled them in some way. And you've committed some kind of ethical lapse. So we want to know, we want to open it up, look at the transcript, find out what exactly went on.
Yeah.
And I think she's trying very hard to not go through that process.
Yes.
Because something clearly dodgy happened in their grand jury.
Yes.
So I think that's a key reason. Because you might be asking, Why would she just go through the trial? Just say fine. We'll have the trial and they'll get off.
Yeah.
But who cares? That's not my fault then. I think that's the reason why she's not going through with the trial. Because the guy who she's up against is Norm Eisen.
Yes.
Who's going to be in his bonnet to try and get Trump. And so he's not going to let that go.
No.
Right. And so that's what I think is actually going on here.
Okay.
But so Trump, if you're smart, will shut up. And that's why he won't. So the Michigan Corner time.
It's the Michigan Corner.
Like I said before, Dave, we'll talk about the midterms a lot more next week.
Yes,
but
we
for
will.
now, we've got this week's stuff to talk about.
We do. Okay, so there were significant primaries right across the country this week, but the most watched one was the Michigan Senate primary.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a contest between Abdul El Sayed, who has been widely likened to Zoran Mamdani. He is to the extent that he is left-wing and Muslim, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how actually some of the similarities have been overstated. So he was up against Haley Stevens, who is a member of the House of Representatives. She represents a district that takes in most of Oakland County in Michigan. Now, it turned out to be a very, very close election. So I'll just start with the result first. Abdul El Sayed won by less than 1%. Okay, so I'm actually not entirely sure what the final number is, and we might not have even reached the final number, but he is 48 point something. Haley Stevens is 47 point something. And I'll go into more details of the race in a sec, but just for now, you need to know he was obviously the left candidate. She was obviously the moderate candidate. Now, you might be thinking, those numbers don't add up to 100. And you'd be right. They don't. Because there was a third candidate on the ballot, although not in the race. This was Mallory McMorrow. I have practiced saying Mallory McMorrow because it's actually pretty hard. Okay, so Mallory McMorrow, who is a member of the Michigan State Senate, she is in what you could call the kind of Elizabeth Warren lane of a race, right? So if you remember the contest, it was a three-way contest between Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, she was in that sort of role, like obviously progressive, but not to the sort of Bernie Sanders extent.
Yes.
Okay, so she was in the race for quite a while. At one point in July, her campaign successfully managed to pressure the Michigan Information Research Service into not publishing a poll that showed that she only had 6% support. Now, admittedly, there were flaws with that poll. It appears that a link that was only supposed to go to sort of designated randomized respondents was actually made open, so it could have gone. So there were some weird numbers in there, like nobody in Detroit was undecided and stuff like that. But anyway, she actually dropped out of the race, I think within a week of that. However, she did not drop out before the deadline for getting out of the ballot. So her name was on the ballot. She got 60,000 votes. The final margin of victory was fewer than 15,000 votes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's actually very hard to say how her presence would have affected the race, because when she dropped out, there was a widespread view this is going to help El Sayed because she's closer to him than she is to Stevens. But that doesn't appear to be what happened. So in that poll that was never published, El Sayed was on, I think, 43 in that. Stevens was on 32. After she dropped out, the polls actually started showing very, very close results. But then towards the end of the race, they started blowing out again. There was actually an Emerson College poll just before the election that showed Abdul El Sayed on 54 points and Hayley Stevens on 39 points. It was at that point that the El Sayed campaign started to get a little bit cocky, or at least this was something that a lot of pissed off people were saying on election night, which was dragging on and on and on. It wasn't even clear what the result was going to be. People were saying he shouldn't have gone to a pool party with Hassan Piker the day before the election. He shouldn't have started up the general election trash talk early, because it did actually turn out to be a very, very close race. Okay, so stepping back from that to the race itself. Abdul El Sayed was actually not a new figure in Michigan politics, whereas Zoran Mamdani came out of complete obscurity. Yeah. 18 months ago, he was literally getting outpolled by the word other on he really came from a very, very low low position to coming out of nowhere to take the primary and then the general election. No, El Sayed's been around for a long time, even though he's only 41 years old. So he is a University of Michigan graduate. He was actually at the University of Michigan same time I was, although I never knew him. He was their valedictorian in 2005. He is the son of Egyptian immigrants, but he's Michigan born and bred. He's a champion lacrosse player, among other things. He was a Rhodes Scholar. He actually got an Oxford Blue in lacrosse. So he got a medical degree.
He's very short.
Is that an impediment in lacrosse?
Isn't it?
I don't know. I do not know the first thing about lacrosse other than it's the national sport of Canada.
Sure, okay.
Yeah. So has a medical degree but didn't get a medical license, instead went into public health. He has authored numerous books and articles about public health. He was the Detroit Director of Health, appointed in 2015 at a pretty young age by Mayor Mike Duggan. And his most recent book is, I think it was called Medicare for All, A Citizen's Case. Right? So public health is his big issue.
It is.
In 2018, he was running for governor in the primary against Gretchen Whitmer. He got 36% of the vote, which is a reasonably respectable showing, given that he was very new at that time. His big issue then was money out of politics. He refused to take donations from PACs, only from individual donors. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders, and he was endorsed by Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez before she actually even entered Congress. So this is the same year that AOC came on the scene. Yep. So I'm making the point. He is a product of that 2018 time, not what came later.
Yeah.
So he doesn't identify himself as a socialist. No. He's not a member of DSA. He identifies himself as a progressive.
Yep.
But, of course, he talks in a very similar way to a lot of people who do identify as socialists, but he doesn't go that far.
Yeah, he shares a number of their policies,
yes,
but he does not actually subscribe to socialism.
That's right. So Medicare for All is his big thing. He's still very much on get money out of politics.
The slogan of his is money out of politics, money in your pockets, Medicare for all.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he's very big on the kitchen table issues.
Some of the other issues he's into. He wants to abolish ICE.
Yep.
He wants to reform the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to impose a federal wealth tax on billionaires.
Yep.
He's also one of his bigger issues in this particular campaign was opposition to data centers.
Yes,
that was a big split with Hayley Stevens. She was pro data centers.
Yes, yeah. And I want to make the point that even though the national media painted this as being a contest about Israel, in Michigan this was not a contest about Israel, although that obviously came into it. Yes, Hayley Stevens had significant AIPAC funding. We will get to that in a second. She was also, though, backed by big tech.
Yeah,
that was another element of what's going on. Okay, so Hayley Stevens, very much in the kind of Gretchen Whitmer mold, was endorsed by Gretchen Whitmer, was endorsed by most of the Michigan Democratic establishment, was endorsed by most of the national Democratic establishment.
Yep.
Look, I don't want to say that she's undistinctive, but she is very much kind of moderate Midwestern Democrat from central casting.
She's more Midwestern Democrat this year than before. Her accent has improved.
Yes.
Yes.
That was noted.
Yes.
Yes, I did hear people from Michigan say, I've never actually heard anyone talk quite like that before. Yeah. But she is, I mean, at a time when most moderate Democrats are probably trying to avoid Israel as an issue, she was actually leaning into it a lot more.
Can I also say,
Yep.
she's got some form there.
Yes, she does. Yeah. This is a genuine belief of hers.
The
Yes.
only reason that
Yeah.
she's in the House in the first place
Yep.
was because she beat out a rep back in
Yes.
2022.
Absolutely.
Who was, I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. He was a Jewish person,
Yes, yeah.
but he was a progressive Jewish person who
Yeah.
believed in the Palestinian state.
Yes, yeah.
And AIPAC spent $4 million against him, which
Yes.
way outspent him. Do you remember his name? I'm trying to
Don't
think
remember his name.
I'll think of it in a second.
Andy Levin?
Andy Levin, thank
That's
you.
right,
Andy
yes.
Levin, that's it. Yeah. So this has been an issue for her for a while.
That is right. Yes. Now, 4 million might sound a lot. It's not compared to the 30 million that AIPAC spent this time around.
32 million.
32 million. Yes. So, which was about half of the overall spend, which was vastly bigger than what Abdul El Sayed had.
$7 million in total. for El
Yes,
Sayed.
because he still won't take money from PACs.
Yeah.
Now, that puts the size of the victory into a bit of perspective. Like, yes, the horse race polls got a bit carried away on Abdul El Sayed, but even though I've suggested that money isn't everything when it comes to campaigns, overcoming that kind of spending deficit, especially considering what the Haley Stevens campaign was using that money for, which was a blanket of often very dishonest attack ads against Abdul El Sayed, that's a pretty significant thing to overcome. So what's Abdul El Sayed's possession on Israel? Well, look, it's not as anti-Israel as some other people in the Democratic Party. Certainly he is no fan of Israel.
No, he's not.
He says that Israel is committing genocide.
Yep.
He wants military aid to Israel to cease.
I think the issue is more than military aid.
Yes.
I was going to say, I don't think the genocide thing's the issue. I think AIPAC have come to terms with the
Yes.
fact
Yeah.
that pretty much every Democrat
Yeah.
is going with the genocide thing.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing that concerns them
Yeah.
is that he is a complete arms embargo
Yes,
on
he
Israel.
is.
As in, they can't even buy arms. Zero arms to Israel.
Yes.
I think that's the position I think that made AIPAC go after him.
Yes.
Go on.
Yeah. He has that now. And that, by the way, that's part of a broader position that he has against US military aid to other countries. So he stresses, like, my parents are Egyptian, end US military aid to Egypt, end it to Saudi Arabia, end it to Qatar, end it to the UAE. He has specifically said end all of those. So he's quite consistent in that position. The big exception is Ukraine.
Yeah.
He's very supportive of military aid to Ukraine because he says that's a completely different situation.
I was going to say, I think there's two other reasons why he is so associated outside Michigan with the Israel issue. One is the fact that you missed out one part of his career, which was he was very prominent in the Uncommitted campaign in 2024.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
So he's associated with that.
Yes, yep.
And secondly, he was campaigning with Hassan Piker, who is out of all the Democratic related people or progressive related people, is the one who is most vocally anti-Israel and pro-Hamas.
And he puts some distance between himself and Hassan Piker, but of course that does not stop, and you wouldn't expect it to stop people from running ads of Hassan Piker saying America deserved 9/11. Yes.
I've got one of those ads coming up.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, he said in an interview once, Hamas is evil, the Israeli government is evil. You can both things can be true. But I do want to stress this is far from the most anti-Israel position that's out there among Democrats at the moment. So AIPAC got very, very heavily involved in this race. This is by far the most that they've ever spent in a race before. And I want to say this race, it didn't need to be about Israel. El-Sayed wasn't trying to turn it into a race about Israel. He knows that foreign policy is rarely an important issue in an election. Yes, of course, the Arab and Muslim population in the southeast of Michigan, it's important to them. And they deserted Kamala Harris in very large numbers in the last election. And yes, he got huge numbers of their votes, but he saw the most important thing as the kitchen table issues. It was AIPAC that made this all about Israel, at least in the national media. And I've got to say, this was a huge strategic misstep, right? If your whole thing is ensuring American support for Israel, in this political environment, with polls showing support among American voters and especially among Democrats for Israel being lower than it's been for 50 years, why would you turn an election in Michigan with the biggest Arab and Muslim population in the United States, why would you turn that election into a referendum on Israel? That was strategically idiotic.
I agree. And I'll add to that.
Yes.
It's not just AIPAC.
Yeah.
It's also Schumer and the Senate Campaign Committee Chair, Gillibrand, who I think made this about Israel because they went out of their way to promote Haley Stevens at the expense of not just El-Sayed, but Mallory McMorrow.
Yes.
Who, guess what she has in common with El-Sayed? She's got similar opinions about Israel, and they went out of their way to back the pro-Israel candidate.
Yep.
They could have shut up. They could have been neutral, but they backed her hard.
Yes.
And so it doesn't take much imagination to think the reason they were backing her hard was because the thing, I mean, it's not like Haley Stevens is some moderate.
No.
Okay, she's also a liberal.
Yes.
The thing that most distinguished her from the other two was her position on Israel.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Schumer and Gillibrand backed her so hard, I think also made it seem like it was more about Israel.
Yes. And certainly once that level of money was coming in, that became the big campaign issue, right? It wasn't even Israel itself. It was AIPAC. Yeah. El-Sayed was constantly talking about AIPAC money.
Which actually played into, as you say, not just his campaign now, but his campaign throughout his life.
Yes.
About no corporate money.
Yes.
Like, because, like that, I mean, the AIPAC thing is like a dream for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a perfect example of him going, look at all this corporate money.
That's right.
So it kind of helped him reinforce his own message.
Yes.
Even ignoring Israel.
Yes, yeah.
And also establishment versus the upstart.
Yes.
Because you got all the endorsees, all the endorsements from all these establishment figures.
Yes.
For one side, who also happens to have all the money and all the big interest groups supporting her.
Yes.
It's kind of a no-brainer if you're a Bernie Sanders style upstart. That's perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I mean, they in the end they got closer than expected, but still El-Sayed won. So that raises the question of, can he actually win a general election?
Before we get there,
yes,
I got a couple other things to say about this, and then because that's obviously the next area. I think you've dealt with most of it, but I just wanted to also point out another factor which we haven't really mentioned. Haley Stevens, terrible campaigner.
Yeah.
Like, no charisma.
Yeah.
El-Sayed's got some charisma.
Yes.
Like, he seems pretty comfortable.
Yes.
That's something he has in common with Mamdani.
Yep.
She's just awkward. There was she went viral for just. Every time she went viral, because she kind of is embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah.
I got an example here, just one of them many times.
And what am I going to do for us? I'm going to be articulating on our behalf. I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
See what I mean?
In all my years of living in Southeast Michigan, I never heard anyone who sounded like that.
Did you ever give him a little bit of stick it to him?
The closest thing that accent sounded to me is what's known as the Ipsitucky accent.
Yeah.
So the Ipsitucky accent is very specific to Ypsilanti, which is a town about 7 miles away from Ann Arbor. And the reason is that, I don't know, 3/4 of a century ago, there was a big influx of migrants from Appalachia to that specific city.
Yes.
To work. And as a result, there's this kind of southern twang in there. But that was just demented.
It was. That's why I picked it. Yeah. You should have seen Lockie cringing when we played that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a factor as well. And when you talk at 1 point,
she got, yeah.
That's a factor as well.
Yeah. Right. Slightly more normal sounding accent probably could have got her over the line.
Another thing which you didn't mention, which is, I'm glad you didn't, because I like the fact that on PEP we just don't go straight there every time.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're being fair and we're being thorough, we do need to mention it. The Arab thing.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that, but that was a factor.
No, I did mention it.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about Haley Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm talking about, for instance, El Sayed. There was a clip of him doing his usual to APAC come and get me kind of a thing. And she responded with this tweet. Abdul, we were both on the ballot in 2018. I was capable of winning my competitive primary and general election. You lost. You lost by over 20 points to Gretchen Whitmer, and you will lose to Mike Rogers by talking like this. Everyone in America understands you want to blame all your problems on Jewish Americans. But, buddy, let me be very clear. I will lower the cost of groceries. What a non sequitur. Ban stock trading for elected officials. Stop Trump's abuses of power and protect Michigan manufacturing. And you'll just be a celebrity whining and writing books to get even richer. You're part of the complainer class looking for their next book or podcast deal. Bro, I just want to work for Michigan. Bro. Anyway, and then, just after that, because that was a bit controversial in itself, the thing about you want to blame all your problems on Jewish Americans. 2 days later, one of the supporters was interviewed on TV. And I don't have it here, but they said something like he needs to, and I got to say, they got baited by the journalist a bit. They didn't say that first, but the journalist kept on going. And they said something like he needs to stop playing all his Arab music and talking Arab and speak to us as equals or something. And so that became a bit of a thing as well. And some of her ads were going there as well. So there was a bit of a vibe of that. And to be honest, I don't think that helped her.
No.
At all.
And I got to say, anti-Arab stuff doesn't play well in Michigan, not just because, not just among the Arab population themselves. That Arab population in Dearborn has been there since the early 1900s. When they started working for Ford. It's a very, very well-established immigrant community in Michigan. This is not like the recent migrants that you can just kick in the teeth. This is not like the new Haitians or Congolese or something like that. So I don't think it played well. There were also some completely ginned-up controversies like the ogre thing.
I don't know this one.
Oh, I think he referred to Fetterman as putting an ogre's head on a pike or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
By the way, when you're talking about the Muslim population in Michigan, I don't know about Michigan in particular, but I do remember about 10 years ago looking at demographic data in America and the Muslim community, overwhelmingly the most educated and richest community.
Absolutely.
Overwhelmingly. And guess who Democrats appeal to these days?
Yes. El Sayed, he's an epidemiologist. His wife is a doctor. His father is an engineer. His uncle is a nephrologist. I mean, that's actually a very typical Arab story in southeastern Michigan. I also just want to make the point that when we talk that the Arab community and the Muslim community are not coterminous with each other.
Fair,
there are a lot of Arab Christians in Michigan, and there are also a lot of non-Arab Muslims. There's a big South Asian population in Michigan as well. There are a lot of African American Muslims too.
There's two other things on the Israeli issue about how it might be overrated by the national media.
Yep.
I saw a really interesting poll from Epic MRA. Mm-hmm. It's a small sample size, 600.
Yep.
But 600 likely Michigan voters in the Democratic primary.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, not Democratic primary, just likely Michigan voters.
Yep.
Conducted July 24th to 31st.
Yes.
So this is right at the end of the campaign.
Yep.
50% were not familiar with AIPAC at all.
Mm.
And of the 49% who were, 56% viewed it unfavourably.
Yep.
12% favourably, 32% undecided.
Yeah.
Not the main issue.
No.
And the other thing I'd say is there's a lot of Republicans are really working hard at the moment trying to make this a thing, right?
Yes.
The anti-Semitic Democrats, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Missouri,
Yeah.
at the same time as this was happening, Cori Bush was running for re-election.
Yeah.
Well, because she used to be in the squad.
Yep.
She lost her race. She was coming back against Wesley Bell. She lost.
Yeah.
And she was trying to make it all about Israel.
They could have made that the marquee contest of the night.
Yeah. But they didn't want to.
No.
Because it didn't go the way that they wanted to for their narrative.
Yeah.
But the Democrats in Missouri's first, they went with Wesley Bell. And this is his quote. What we've seen over and over is talking about an issue that's not impacting folks right here in St. Louis. And while we take those issues seriously, the M in Missouri doesn't stand for Middle East, it stands for Missouri. And
kind of a lame line, but
that he won amongst the Democrats.
He did, yeah.
Right, so I think this is more complicated than people like to make it out.
It is.
Look, they'll do for now. Okay, let's move on to the Senate.
And I want to start by talking about the actual patterns that occurred here.
I thought you would.
Yes. Okay, because interestingly, even though that big Arab and Muslim population we're talking about is concentrated in Wayne County, Haley Stevens won Wayne County by 5 points.
It's got a lot of black people.
That is, she did very well with African Americans.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So this is now this feature that we keep seeing in primaries, which is African Americans tend to vote for moderate candidates. Although there is an age divide there that often gets obscured. Younger African Americans often vote for more progressive, but older African Americans tend to be the large majority of voters.
Especially given one of the establishment that supported Haley Stevens hard was Jim Clyburn.
Yeah.
Who very much appeals to older black voters.
That's right.
Another thing was there is this vibe with Al Sayed, as you say, there's not like a full-on Justice Democrat, even though a lot of his policies coincide.
Yeah.
But there is this association with the upstart progressives kind of going to war with the Democratic establishment.
Yeah.
And the especially the elderly black voters tend to
the civil rights generation.
Yeah, they tend to be a bit more grateful for the Democratic establishment.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
They don't like trashing them too much.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's that as well.
And okay, so sorry,
one more thing.
You're still talking about that, yeah?
Yeah. One more thing on that. This was one of Haley Stevens' most played ads that didn't involve AIPAC.
Okay.
Haley Stevens, Chief of Staff for President Obama's auto rescue, saving over 200,000 Michigan jobs.
Haley Stevens, she was a critical part of my team that helped the American auto industry come roaring back.
Haley Stevens, a proven fighter for Michigan.
Barack Obama didn't endorse her. But that was the ad that she ran the most. So you can make the connections there. Okay,
yes.
Go on.
Okay. And so she also she did well in her own district of Oakland County, which is one of the wealthier counties in Michigan. That's got a lot of the wealthier suburbs of Detroit. She also did well in Macomb County, which is a more down at heel part of the Detroit suburbs. So where did El Sayed win? He won with huge margins in Washtenaw County, where I used to live. That's the home of Ann Arbor. That's the home of the University of Michigan. He got, I think, something in the order of 2/3 of the vote there, which is huge even in a one-sided contest. He won huge in Ingham County, which is where Lansing, the state capital, and East Lansing, home of Michigan State University, are. Very similar dynamic. He won in Kent County, which is Grand Rapids. Now, historically, like Grand Rapids was the home of conservatism in Michigan, but Grand Rapids is now this affluent, trendy, growing tech young person town. A lot of college graduates there.
Most college graduates in Michigan.
Yes. She also won in Travis County, which is the home of Travis City, which is a very alternative-y kind of resort town on what we from Michigan call the Third Coast. That is the beach of the Great Lakes, sure. Which to anyone who's seen a real beach might not look very impressive, but to people from the Midwest, it looks really impressive. And also in Kalamazoo, which is like a mini Grand Rapids in terms of its demographics.
I got the stat for you here, mate.
Yeah.
In counties where more than 30% of voters have earned a bachelor's degree, our side won by more than 60% of the vote.
Yes.
Not by, he won more than 60% of the vote.
Yes, whereas Stephen's strongholds were places like Wayne, Genesee County, where Flint is. The rural counties were interesting because El Sayed outperformed there. Now, in some of these places, in some of these counties, there were literally fewer than 1,000 people voting in the primaries. But El Sayed did well in those places, actually won a few of them. These are the classic places that voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump 3 times, right? And El Sayed, in some ways, is your classic candidate who fits into that. Like, yes, he's unorthodox in a lot of ways, but he's promising to actually do something. Okay, so what does this actually say about El Sayed's electability? I would say not a hell of a lot either way.
I agree.
Is going to be my assessment. Now, first of all, the calls for unity began very quickly. It didn't matter how nasty the campaign was. El Sayed gave a speech before he knew that he was going to win, but he would have been reasonably confident that he was going to win, calling for unity going into November. Mallory McMorrow endorsed El Sayed, hadn't actually endorsed him before the election, endorsed him at 2 a.m. on the night of the election when she became fairly sure that he was going to win. And Hayley Stevens in her concession speech was calling for unity for the fight ahead.
Yep.
We overestimate, I think, especially in congressional races, how much bruising primaries actually hurt the winning candidate. I don't think the primary itself is going to hurt him at all. And yes, he lost those seats with a lot of those counties with a lot of the traditional Democratic base. They're not voting for a Republican.
No.
In 2026. So I don't think that the nastiness or the disunity is going to hurt him. Now, obviously, Republicans were saying very loudly, oh, yes, great outcome for Republicans. I think that Trump...
I've got it.
Yep.
Great news for the Republican Party. El Sayed, a communist loser who hates Jews and Israel, is the projected winner in his race with the socialist. As usual, the polls were way off on this one. She was not expected to do nearly as well as she did. Now the Democrats' crazy policies will only get worse.
Okay. Now, I did see one poll that suggested that... It was something along the lines of in a race between the Republican and either Stevens or El Sayed, it suggested that Stevens would win by 2 and that El Sayed would lose by 2. However, that's a 600-person poll. There are 4% confidence intervals around everything. Also, the election is still a few months off.
Yeah. I was going to say, until now, I think the average has Stevens outperforming El Sayed by about 6 points against Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is pretty moderate as far as Republicans go.
Yeah.
But it hasn't even started yet.
No, it hasn't started. It hasn't started. Yeah. And I'll say the same thing about Michigan that I said about Texas, which is the candidates might not actually matter that much. Texas, I'm more confident in saying that, but Michigan, the candidates might not matter that much.
Trump's approval's 33%.
Yeah.
In
and
Michigan.
If conditions deteriorate much further, it might not matter who the Democrat was.
And the tariffs are a killer in Michigan.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that bridge thing. Remember we talked about the bridge?
Yep.
That's a Michigan issue.
That's a big Michigan issue.
Yeah.
And AIPAC is considering getting involved in the race again.
Jeez,
If I were Mike Rogers, I would want AIPAC to stay a million miles away from this race because El Sayed will be able to do exactly what he did in the primaries and make it about AIPAC and make it about corporate money. And Israel is not particularly popular in Michigan. It's not just among Democrats. In Republican terms, Michigan is the classic place where Republicans tend to oppose American involvement in the rest of the world. It's the kind of place where they increasingly see Israel as being responsible for the Iran war. Yeah, it's not going to fly if they try to make it all about Israel.
Presumably, like El Sayed's not an idiot. Presumably he's going to recalibrate slightly so that he's still populist and all the rest of it, but he's not giving them any gifts.
No.
I mean, unless you think he's a moron, of course he's going to do that.
Yeah.
But,
yes. Now,
the question is, sorry, I was just going to say, the question is though, Rogers is the guy who ran in 2024.
Yes, got very, very close.
Against Slotkin. And Slotkin is like, she's a formidable candidate.
Yes,
She's not a pushover.
Yeah.
And she only beat him by, was it 0.4%?
Yeah, 20,000 votes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
tiny margin.
So it doesn't take much.
No.
It doesn't take much at all.
Yes, yeah. And
mind you, Trump didn't have a 33% approval at that point.
Yeah. And if the election was held tomorrow, I've got no idea which way it would go. To be honest, but there's a long way to. There is a long way to go. So no, I definitely don't see him as unelectable. It's arguable that Haley Stevens would have had a better chance, but I definitely don't see him as unelectable. Now there is a lot of talk about this is going to be the progressives' biggest test, and progressives might rue the fact that they got this candidate there who's, if he loses, then it says something about their electability. They need to have this test.
Yeah.
They are absolutely not ruining this. Yes, they might fail the test, but you to paraphrase Wayne Gretzky, you fail 100% of the tests that you don't get to take.
Yeah.
So, no, they are absolutely going to want this.
I just couldn't agree more. That he may not be, I mean, number one, he's not a bad candidate.
No.
For them to take this test with.
Yeah.
This is a state where Trump has a 33% approval.
Yes.
If they can't win in this state,
that's right.
Then they might as well just pack up and restrict themselves to New York from now on. So, if the I shouldn't say socialists, if the progressive left, want to actually have designs on becoming the future of the Democrats, they need to win not just here, they need to win in Pennsylvania.
Yes, yeah.
They need to win in Arizona.
Yep.
They need to win, Michigan is the easiest state for them to win out of the states they need to win in, the purple states.
Yes.
I think they absolutely need this.
Yes.
I think this is if you think about the past, I think people play up way too much the progressive takeover of the Democrats. Until now, it's 10 seats.
Yes, yeah.
It's a squad every election, a squad of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Who cares about that out of 200, right? The only time I can think of anything comparable to this was 2018, Andrew Gillum in Florida.
Yes, yeah.
Who was similar.
Yes.
He was basically the same class as El Sayed.
Yeah.
Which was he was Sanders, but he wasn't socialist.
Yes.
And he lost by about half a point as well to DeSantis.
Yes.
That's the only other time that progressive has run in a genuinely purple state, statewide.
By the way, if you're wondering why you haven't heard of Andrew Gillum for a while, he had something of a downward spiral.
Yeah, he didn't do so well in the months after the election.
Yes.
So,
yeah, he makes Hunter Biden look like...
there's a bit of prostitution. Was it gay prostitution?
Yeah, it was.
And there was drugs.
Yeah,
it wasn't great.
Bit of crystal meth.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Yes. he makes Hunter Biden look like Davey Hearn. But one problem I would say that El Sayed, I mean, he's got a lot of potential baggage. One problem is that there is no disguising his ambition. So one of the things that Zohran Mamdani has going for him, as I've said many times before, is everybody knows he can't be president, right? So he is Mr. New York. He is completely devoted to New York. This is just what he wants to do, is to be the mayor of New York.
Yeah.
El Sayed, though, he could have much bigger ambition. He seems to have much bigger ambitions. And people are talking him up.
I was going to say, his buddies have more ambitions.
Yeah.
I sent you a tweet before. I'll play it to everyone else. This is Nathan Robinson, Nathan Robinson gets a bit excited.
Mm-hmm.
He's a socialist writer. He does get pretty excited. But this is what he has to say about El Sayed. He said this a couple of days ago.
Yep.
If Abdul El Sayed beats Stevens, I actually think he's very likely to be the next president. I suspect he'll trounce the Republican. His criticisms of Dem elites will appeal to those who like Bernie and Trump. And if he wins Michigan, he'll silence centrists and be ideal Dem 2028 contender. Now, I reckon, I'm not ruling him out to run for president one day. 2028 might be a bit soon.
Seems a bit early. I don't think he would do that.
Yeah.
But it's like when Stevens said, you're a book deal chasing, podcast doing. What did you call it? Member of the complainer class.
Yes.
He could definitely be painted as that.
Yeah.
As someone who's just got ambitions to be a big national political figure.
He wouldn't be on his own in that respect.
He would not be on his own in that respect. Whereas,
especially in the Senate,
when Mamdani says he really wants to fix the sewers and make the bananas cheaper, that is what his agenda is.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is fair.
Yeah. By the way, the dumbest strategy on earth is Republicans actually likening El Sayed to Mamdani.
Yeah, because he's so popular.
Yes.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't think that's what they're going to do. No. We already know what they're going to do. They're running ads already. Remember I promised you I had one of their ads?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed, the most radical Senate candidate in America.
Pretty dangerous.
El Sayed pledged support for the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, a designated foreign terrorist group. He wants to hike taxes on Michigan waitresses, delivery drivers, and seniors on Social Security. He joined a sex offender and a murderer to demand the mass release of dangerous prisoners. And when his ally claimed America deserved 9/11,
America deserved 9/11, dude.
El Sayed refused to disavow it.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
Abdul El Sayed, too radical, too dangerous, wrong for Michigan.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Hassan Piker times 1,000.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Probably at least a quarter of Michigan Republicans believe that 9/11 was done by the Bush administration. So, I don't know how that's going to play.
Well, just a little aside. I don't think they're going to keep on running that grab, but that I'm pretty damn dangerous. Do you know what he was saying when he said that?
No.
He wasn't going, I'm going to kill people and slash them. He wasn't saying that. What he was talking about was the Democratic establishment.
Yes.
If they want, he says, if they want to keep on stacking, if they want to keep on going after the corporate dollar, I'm pretty damn dangerous for them.
Yes.
That's what he was saying. They turned to like a gang member. Watch out, I'm going to kill ya. Me and Piker. Anyway. The other thing I was going to say was that in terms of this being an important seat for them and why they need it, the progressives I'm talking about, in open Democratic congressional primaries this year,
yes, candidates
endorsed by ideological progressive groups like Justice Democrats and the Democratic Socialists of America.
Yep.
Not Our Revolution, the Sanders one, because they endorse a bit more broadly.
Yep.
But the DSA and the Justice Democrats very much only endorse progressives, right?
Yep.
Out of them, out of those seats, America has, they've won 23% of contests in places where Kamala Harris won at least 2/3 of the presidential vote in 2024.
Yep.
They've won 8% of contests in places where Harris won 50 to 65% of the vote. They've won 0% of contests where she won less than 50% of the vote.
Right.
Michigan, she won less than 50% of the vote.
Yep.
This is what they need.
Yes.
This is where they start.
Yes.
And because even if they won all the purple seats,
Yep.
there's still 45% of the country that they're not competing in. So they need to at least compete in the purples.
Yes.
So I think this is important.
Yes.
I know you got to go, so
I just want to mention this was not the only primary contest that happened.
I was going to do this as well. Go.
In Michigan. There was another big one. Another big victory for the progressives was actually in Detroit, in a congressional district in Detroit. This
is the 7th district you're talking about?
This is the 7th district that we are talking about. This was won by Donovan McKinney, who is a DSA member.
Okay, no, this is not the 7th district, sorry.
Oh,
it's a different
sorry,
one.
13th district.
13th district, yeah. Sorry.
13th district.
Yes, okay.
Now, Donovan McKinney beat an incumbent who's Sri Thanadar.
Oh, yeah. He's a bit weird, isn't he?
I want you to have a look at this ad from Sri Thanadar's successful campaign and tell me whether you believe that Sri Thanadar deserved to get re-elected. Lockie, play it.
How bad are the potholes in Michigan? Let's find out. It's still going.
Agree? Vote for Sri.
Sorry, I apologise. That was not a successful campaign. That was his unsuccessful campaign. That was the same primary that Abdul El Sayed was in against Gretchen Whitmer when they both lost. Anyway, he somehow got defeated.
He's got a bit of Haley Stevens about him.
Yes, he does. No, you quickly talk about the 7th.
Yeah, the 7th was the co-founder of the Sunrise Movement won.
Yes.
But it was a split vote. He won 43% of the vote, and then there was a 28% and a 27%.
Yes.
The two moderates split.
Yeah.
So he kind of went through the middle there.
Yes.
So I mean, it was a progressive win, but it wasn't like, progressive takeover.
Yes.
It was a good situation for him.
Yep.
And the other one, this is my favorite one. The Michigan's 8th district was in the Republican primary.
Yep.
Trump's endorsee lost to a guy who had dropped out of the race weeks earlier. Now, you might be going, how's it possible to lose to someone who's dropped out of the race? Like, a name's still on the ballot, but they've dropped out of the race. Let me tell you something about the candidate that Trump endorsed. And full credit to Trump.
Yeah.
His name, do you know who it is? His name is Amir Hassan.
Oh, yes.
And this is the Republican primary.
Yeah.
Now, Amir Hassan is exactly the kind of guy who Trump would support. He's a Christian. He claims to have zero tolerance for extremists who pervert Islam. But he still lost the Republican vote 50% to 33% to a guy called Thomas Smith, who dropped out last month. You do the math.
Yeah.
so I mean, good on Trump for endorsing someone called Amir Hassan.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for him.
Did not work out. All right. I'd better go.
Okay.
It's good to be back in this spacious new office.
We'll put a pin in your other topic for next time.
Yes.
And
that topic's not going away.
No, and we'll also talk about the more 2026-y, 2080 kind of stuff as well.
All right. Look forward to it.
Till next time, Dave.
Stay peppy.
Stay peppy. I'll see you guys after the White Flash with Lockie. Welcome to the other side of the White Flash. This is Chaz Unleashed with Lockie.
G'day,
Hey,
Peppers.
Lockie.
Hey, Chaz. It's good to see. It is nice to actually catch up. I missed you on our long break.
Oh,
I was hallucinating about you the entire time they had me on the good stuff.
Yeah. So how long were you on the good stuff for?
Like 4 days.
Well, you were officially on for 4 days. That's all right.
Correct. Yes. And now I'm on even more good good stuff because peppers who are listening won't know, but we're getting full toe at the moment.
So you're telling me that I haven't seen these shots. You're telling me it's like a full body shot.
Yeah, full body. Yeah,
So,
like a fireside.
Because I'm not wearing shoes.
No.
Because I never wear shoes if I can avoid it. And I'm revealing my toe socks here because I don't know how some of the peppers will know this. I only wear toe socks.
I think you've mentioned this before.
Yeah, I'm not going to say a brand because it's the ABC. But there aren't that many brands of toe socks out there. There should be, but I love the toe socks. Yeah, it's just one more way in which I'm kind of strange.
I think the ABC and the Ombudsman will be happy to know that showing Chaz's toe sock probably isn't going to do numbers in sales.
I'm not going to sell them. I'll just keep it to myself. It's my little secret. The benefits of toe socks. But Lockie, let's get right into it. I've got two quick topics which I just want to rattle through.
Please.
And see what you think. I'll throw down some sticks and you can pick them up.
Yeah, my head's about as full as Jane Pirro's, but we'll go for it.
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about corruption. Since I've been away, we've learned a little bit more about Trump's self-dealing because he put out his financial disclosure forms. The New York Times noted Trump extracted over $2.2 billion just last year.
Just last year.
$2.2 billion in inverted commas income.
Is that the most that he's ever made?
I haven't.
In 1 year?
You'd be surprised to hear Trump isn't very forthcoming on his disclosures when he doesn't have to put them out, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because only $549 million of that was the regular Trump income, the golf and real estate income.
Wow.
That's his normal income, right? He's a real estate guy.
Yeah.
The rest, wow, let me take you through it. $17 million in merch. That's what we've been laughing at with great gusto.
I was going to say how much of this is perfume and shoes.
That kind of shit.
That's
exactly.
It? Okay.
And the phone and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, the phone.
Yeah. $117 million from legal settlements. All of them bullshit.
Shocking.
$125 million for foreign golf and real estate projects, all of which should be zero when he's president, if he has any ethics whatsoever. And the big one, $1.4 billion from cryptocurrency, digital tokens, and related partnerships.
Wow, so more than half.
Yeah, that's just pure grift.
So and imagine the money that'll be once he starts using it for tolling.
Just imagine. Iran, there is a line waiting for you in his balance sheet. So let's be generous. Let's say that all the real estate stuff, the domestic real estate stuff is legit, which it isn't. But let's just pretend it is. Then the rest of that's just all flimflammery and grifting. So that's $1.65 billion of grifting in 1 year as president. Nice job if you can get it. The latest grift was announced this week. And
merch? Is it merch?
No, it's not merch.
Okay.
It's not merch. So I've got to say, I'm going to hand it to the guy. He is really innovating in the field of corruption. He really is. He genuinely is. This is a great scheme.
You've got to be a disruptor if you want to make adventure capital money.
Look, I'm gonna doff the hat because a lot of his corruption is just plain illegal. But not this. This is legal. This is legal. I mean, I'm sure he didn't come up with himself, but it's very clever. It's legal, and also this is the kind of corruption that actually gives the other side some value for what they're paying. Like it's actually a very
the other side being the other party.
Yeah, the other party.
Okay,
like, This is decent. This is a decent transaction apart from the fact it's corrupt. If you leave that aside, you go, "Wow, that's a great that's a clever transaction, and it's legal." So it's
So this is his first symbiotic corruption.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Lovely. Lovely. All right, so let me tell you about it. First of all, let me remind you of Truth Social, his social media website, which was spoken before at length. That's his garbage dump. Never turned a profit, never come even close. In the 2025 financial year, it made $3.7 million in revenue and lost overall $712 million.
Its boss is being paid $60 million a year.
But then I don't know what the rest is being paid. I guess it's servers and stuff. I don't know. But The first quarter of 2026, it made $871,000. And it lost $405 million.
Wow.
But that is about to change because of this new scam.
Ah.
For the low price of $100,000 a month, you can receive
a blue tick.
No, this is real. This is not bullshit.
Okay,
this is a real transaction. It's an automatic feed of Truth Social's most important posters.
That's plural, so that's wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the fig leaf. We all know there's anyone they care about. But basically, the microsecond they're posted publicly, it's sent down the pipe to your terminal, whatever it may be. This is called an application processing interface, or an API. They're everywhere. This is not new. Trump did not invent APIs. I use APIs for some of my with my reading because I use RSS feeds. Right?
Yeah.
It actually provides the data feed directly into your financial trading terminal, should you want it to. To ensure that you can react as quickly as possible to Trump announcements that could have market ramifications. Now, like I said, lots of companies offer APIs. It's not just Truth Social. But those companies don't contain exclusive official statements from the President of the United States.
Yes.
That's kind of the difference. Now, to be clear, like you hit on, it's not just Trump.
It's
talking
Trump Jr.
We're talking Vance. We're talking Trump Jr. We're talking RFK. We're talking Kash Patel. It's just Trump. No one cares about the other ones. And yes, dubious investment value out of Trump posting a picture of him dressed as a gladiator, say, or him palling around with Jesus. Not much investment potential there, but then he's just as likely to declare war on some country through Truth Social, or declare, like every weekend he declares a ceasefire, right? And every single time, that affects the market, and it's and you can make a lot of money if you're the first to trade based on the real announcements. So selling early access to Trump's tweets can make Truth Social tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars over the next 2 years. Because it adds up, right? $100,000 a company a month.
Yeah, that's significant.
Now, the Wall Street Journal reported that at least 5 major trading firms have already signed up, and more are to come. Just those 5 companies alone has tripled Truth Social's revenue. Just that.
Yeah, wow.
Already. Right? It's, now, theoretically, he shouldn't be able to do this. I did at the top, I said this is legal. Now, you might have some doubts at this point in time because under the Presidential Records Act, every document that's created or received by the president is a quote, in the course of conducting activities which relate to or have an effect upon the carrying out of the constitutional, statutory, or other official or ceremonial duties of the president, are subject to the United States' complete ownership, possession, and control. So, okay, how's he selling that? It's the United States' tweet, not his. Trump doesn't own his tweets. The public owns his tweets.
Yeah.
But the tweets are still public. He's not selling the tweets.
It's not access. It's time.
He's not even selling it to people early.
No.
They're coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
They explicitly say, Truth Social says, Truth API is designed to deliver posts the instant they are made public to everyone, not before. I don't see how that can infringe the law. All they've done is provided a direct feed for people to receive the public content in the most easily processed form, which means they might use that content maybe a second faster, maybe a tenth of a second faster. That's all it takes.
I would argue it's not much faster than the notification button on your phone.
Yeah, well, look, these companies,
to them, it's significant.
Dude, these companies, they already scrape Truth Social. They literally have machines that just go like every tenth of a second, just refresh, and just scrape whatever Trump tweet there is. They already do that. Right? But this might be just that little bit faster because you don't have to wait a tenth of a second. It's instant, right? So what does this mean? Let me give you a case study of what this means.
Please.
There was a group called the Flash Boys, right? Which sound like...
Yeah, that sounds like a crime and the perpetrator.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. They sound a little bit dubious, but they're not dubious in that respect. In mid-2009, Spread Networks built a $300 million fiber optic cable that ran 1,300 kilometers from Chicago to New Jersey. It cut through mountains and rivers, and it was a primo technology at the time. And the point of that was to reduce the time of transmission data between the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and NASDAQ by 4 milliseconds.
Yeah, this is a world that I am not at all versed in because that sounds like a total waste of cash.
The time of the data reduced from 17 milliseconds to 13 milliseconds. They spent $300 million doing that, and they made billions of dollars as a result in trading with automated trading, right? Thomson Reuters tried a similar thing to Trump, actually, in 2013. They gave paying customers a 2-second head start on the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index. And then the New York Attorney General pressured them to stop. But it wasn't illegal. They just pressured them. Stock exchanges currently offer APIs with their info as well. It's legal. Right. And I already said that companies already do the scraping. Okay. Basically, this is a form of legal insider trading because you just get that tenth of a second, that millisecond, right?
Yes.
And Truth Social doesn't even hide that. Kevin McGurn, the interim CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group, that's the ones who own Truth Social. Markets already move on Truth Social posts. Truth API delivers a direct, licensed, real-time feed of the platform's most market-moving truths while advancing our strategy to monetize proprietary assets through a high-margin recurring revenue stream. Pretty brazen. They might as well, I mean, it's effectively the same as allowing Wall Street donors to have a look at your executive orders the day before you release them, except it's all just much faster, that's all.
Well, it's not the day before, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
Like it's like in terms of when they see it, they just see it literally a tenth of a second, a couple of milliseconds before anyone else. And just to be clear, this money goes directly to Trump. No complicated pathways here. Trump owns 41% of Truth Social's parent company. Okay, it's going straight to Trump.
Yeah.
Right now, those money is held in a revocable trust, but
sure,
it's Trump. Right? He's making money out of selling access to his own tweets, even though they're not his tweets. Right. Now, Democrats aren't happy about this. Chris Murphy calls it an insider trading subscription service, which it is. And Alex Padilla has introduced a bill to ban selling speedy access to the president's posts. You'll never hear about that again. Elizabeth Warren and Adam Schiff sent a letter to the SEC chairman, Paul Atkins, asking him to open an investigation to determine whether the proposed arrangement violates applicable securities laws. He's a Trump selection. I wonder if he'll investigate. Probably not. But I haven't told you how it gets worse
No,
yet.
please, tell me.
Everything I've told you so far is how Trump can profit from selling access to his tweets, even if all the tweets are above board. But who said they're all going to be above board?
Oh.
What if Trump accidentally releases information he's not supposed to on Truth Social?
Yeah.
Because he does it all the time.
Yeah.
What if he makes a mistake, in inverted commas, and then deletes it?
I was going to say,
or changes his post.
Yeah.
Then he gets them on the way in and on the way out. The fact is, if Trump screws around with what he posts, that will make this API service more valuable for people. It will make them more millions of dollars. And then Trump will make more money.
Yeah.
So Trump has every incentive to now release private info and make wild, insane announcements to mess with the market as much as he possibly can to encourage people to get Truth Social API.
Wow.
The more news he creates, the richer he gets, right? So this is basically a financial reward that Trump has discovered for him being a terrible president.
Wow.
It's ingenious.
That is clever.
That's what I'm saying. It's
the perfect thing for him.
This is breaking new ground in corruption. Like, it is just extraordinary.
It's a shame that he's always searching for the Peace Prize or rewards for stopping wars, because he should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize in the field of corruption.
He should be getting the Capone Prize for corruption. That's what he should be getting. He'd get every year. An all-timer. The
problem with the Capone Prize is every year it goes to Capone.
Well, as corrupt as Capone might be, I think Trump can outdo him. And here's the evidence. So anyway, that's the first thing I want to tell you about. I found that amazing. So do you have any other thoughts on that?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible work. What else is he up to?
This is not Trump. This is one more thing I just want to talk about, because this is going to get really old by the next PEP. Fauci.
Yes.
I don't want to go through the hearing. They just had a hearing with Fauci. I don't want to go through the hearing because it was a joke. It was performative. It gave no information whatsoever. But I do want to explain to you what was going on there, because it's back in the news. It might seem strange to you that anyone even cares about Fauci in 2026. He's kind of yesterday's man. He retired a long time ago. Yes, Fauci made some bad recommendations during COVID and then pretended that he had nothing to do with them. I'll give you an example. He kept kids home from school much longer than they need to, in hindsight. At the time, there were plenty of people who agreed with him, but in hindsight, I think most of America's gone, yeah, we should have had the kids back in school earlier. They kept the kids out of school in America for a very long time, longer than Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Another one was, in hindsight, they probably pushed vaccinations on kids a bit harder than they needed to. Like, kids are less under threat from COVID. We've discovered since than we thought at the time. Early on, he discouraged masks, and then he turned around and encouraged masks. So that was a weird kind of flip flop. Early on, he was pushing wiping down surfaces and stuff, and then they just gave up on that.
I remember that.
Yeah. They made mistakes. It was a novel virus. They were working this shit out as they were going. That's expected. That's nothing amazing about that. Now, Fauci has since admitted, sometimes in leaked documents, like he didn't want to admit it, that he was making recommendations for communication strategy reasons. He was making recommendations that he didn't necessarily believe were true because of just ease of communication. Don't make people panic. Don't make things confusing. Just go, everyone get a vaccine. Don't go, oh, well, kids don't need it necessarily as much as old people need it. And all this kind of, don't do that. Just say get a vaccine. Make it simple. Once again, things were scary. Things were moving fast. We weren't exactly sure at the time how much we need. We weren't sure about side effects. Weren't sure about all kinds of stuff, right? And so that's all very reasonable in my book. When you're making shit up as you're going, by necessity. It's a novel virus, and people are dying in front of you, right? So that all makes sense. And by the way, on the other side, people were making far worse calls, in my view, like pushing hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin as cures. That's bullshit. Suggesting COVID was just like the common cold, which a lot of conservatives did. That's not true. Suggesting that more people die from the vaccine than die from COVID itself. Not true. People just completely disappeared long COVID. They just pretended it didn't exist. The number of times people are going, oh, if you don't die, well, who cares? Tell that to the person who loses their brain for the next 3 years, because it happened, right? Like, people basically had chronic fatigue effectively for years and years and years. Some people, it never went. All right, so and people were just disappearing that and pretending it didn't exist. So there were bad calls being made all over the place, right? Fine. So that's all my disclaimers. But the reason why conservatives have been so obsessed with Fauci is not for any of that. The reason why is because, one, if they blame him, they can remove the blame from Trump, who was president when this was all happening.
Yeah.
And they don't want to blame Trump for all the shit that they're angry about now, even though it was his responsibility. And Fauci couldn't make anything happen without Trump saying yes. They don't want to have to blame Trump for it.
Yeah.
So Fauci is a handy person to blame for it instead. right? That's the first thing. Oh, yeah, and also, by the way, that denial from Trump for responsibility leads to some very funny moments. Like, for instance, this was Trump's interview with Megyn Kelly, like last week.
The truth is, though, not only did you not fire Fauci, who is loathed by many, millions of Republicans in particular, but also some Democrats.
By the way,
you made him a star. You made him a star. This is the criticism of you, that you made him the face of the White House coronavirus task
You think so?
force, that he was out at every presser, that he was running herd for the administration on COVID, and that you actually gave him a presidential commendation before you left office. Wouldn't you like a do-over on that?
I don't know who gave him the commendation. I really don't know who gave him the commendation.
Presidential commendation, what?
That was funny, and you haven't convinced anyone, Trump. I'm sorry. Number two was because Fauci was involved in gain-of-function research that offered conservatives who wanted to get him a huge opportunity. If they could convince people that COVID was started from a lab leak, then they could insinuate that Fauci is the one responsible for COVID.
For the leak.
Even without proving it or connecting it at all. Just going, oh, Fauci was doing research with this kind of shit. That COVID was released from a lab where they were doing this kind of shit. Therefore, Fauci's responsible for COVID. That's the kind of connection they were trying to make. They would say, oh, he helped promote its creation and then he released it onto the world. That's what they were trying to do.
Okay.
That's what this is about. They're trying to blame Fauci for COVID. And they rarely say it outright because it's kind of stupid when you put it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't say that outright.
But the insinuation is often there. Like, this is Senator Tommy Tuberville just this week.
He actually did fund the gain of function in the Wuhan lab. Now we know that it was released from the Wuhan lab. Now, whether it was on purpose or not on purpose, it killed millions of people, and he lied through his teeth. He should be locked up before he leaves this building today and put in prison and then put on trial in front of the American people. We lost 20 to 30,000 people in Alabama alone, and I hope every damn one of them sues this Dr. Fauci, puts him in court. If we can't put him in prison, let's put him in court every day for the rest of his life where he has to be punished and listen to the death that he caused. Again, the vaccine, the death, the lies that he gave to President Trump, and then he took over for Biden, and Biden didn't know what day it was, and so he was free to just run loose across this country and just lie when the truth he knew was totally different than what he was telling. And again, it's embarrassing for what this is the best country on the face of the earth, and we had this fool as the NIAID director. I mean, it's just absolutely appalling that he killed people, and people are still dying because of this vaccine. Who knows what any of these people that are dying every day are dying from, and a lot of it, I think, is from that vaccine that he forced on the people and used us as guinea pigs. It's appalling.
So he's all but saying Fauci's responsible for millions of deaths.
It does, even when he doesn't say it directly, it sounds stupid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's the reason I don't have any time, by the way, for the lab leak versus animal origin debate. It's been going on for like 5 years now. I've talked about it on PEP a number of times, every time I have contempt for the debate. And the reason why, I always say the same thing, it's a bad faith argument. No one actually cares about where it came from. They just want to say lab leak so then they can blame Fauci for COVID. It's a means to an end. And the end is blaming Fauci for COVID. That's why they make such a big deal out of it. And I hate that. Also, the answer doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether COVID came from a lab leak or came from animals. What matters is what's a realistic threat. If they're both realistic threats, they need to protect against both. The reason we care about this is because the next pandemic. I don't care if COVID was a lab leak if the next pandemic could be released by animals. I don't care if it was released by animals if the next pandemic could be a lab leak.
Sure.
You want to guard against both possibilities. They're both credible.
Yes.
They're both realistic. We don't know which one is true, but if we could work it out, it wouldn't change what we do going forward. We need to guard against both possibilities.
Sure.
And the fact that people treat it like a sporting competition where you're cheering for one side or the other just drives me crazy, especially given part of it is bad faith, like I just said. So that's why I get the shits with that argument a little bit. Also, let me be very clear here. Literally no one who isn't a Republican stooge, zero scientists suggests that COVID was created with US funding. Zero. Okay, they're very clear on that. We don't know if COVID was a lab leak. Maybe some scientists say it was. Some scientists say it wasn't. Every scientist says that COVID wasn't made from American funding. Okay, there is no evidence of that whatsoever. So just put that away. That stupid argument. We know the compounds that Fauci's department funded the development of. We know the exact compounds. They're not COVID. Okay? Thank you. Incredibly dishonest, despicable stuff. Another thing that sucks is that people like Rand Paul, who absolutely know better, are using the scientific method against scientists. And what I mean by that is the scientific method is to critique new theories, to consider alternatives, to have doubt, to constantly change your mind, to not be sure, to question yourself constantly. That's the scientific method. We want scientists to change their mind. We want them to be flexible as possible, to work towards the truth over time. The more flexible they are, the quicker they get to a defendable position, right? But every time some scientists considered, say, the lab leak theory and then changed their mind to advocate the animal release theory, that gets held against them. They get punished for it. Look how dishonest they are. Look how they're lying. They said this and then they said that. Fauci said this in his diary and then he said something else in public. Maybe he was changing his mind. Like, prove otherwise. It's just they're punishing people for being mentally flexible. I don't like Fauci. Let me be clear about that. I'm not his mate. But the way they go after him discourages good science in the future. And that worries me. The next pandemic is what I'm worried about. All they're doing is encouraging people to not change their mind ever, to make a call and stick to it stubbornly. And we will all suffer if they do that the next time around.
Yeah, wow.
You encourage flexibility, please. It's so short-sighted what they're doing. So I want to just mention that as well. And finally, my last thing is the Fifth Amendment. Fauci took the Fifth 111 times, right? The Fifth Amendment
is not an exaggerated number.
No, that's the exact number, 111 times, which means he refused to answer questions on the grounds he wouldn't incriminate himself. Now, on the surface, that seems ridiculous because he's got a pardon from Joe Biden. He can't incriminate himself. So how can he take the Fifth? Right? And that's why Rand Paul's committee just voted along party lines to hold him in contempt for taking the Fifth 111 times when they say he didn't need to take the Fifth. He was just obstructing. By the way, that's super dodgy, that contempt hearing, that contempt vote, because the vote's supposed to go to the full Senate. But obviously Rand Paul knew he didn't have the numbers in the full Senate, so he only took the vote in his committee. So that's dodgy as well. It's very weak. But let's leave that aside. Lots of people are calling Fauci a coward for taking the Fifth when he already had a pardon. Like, say, for instance, this douchebag from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers.
Is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the Fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Like
Gotta love that guy.
Okay. Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
There, it's back, baby. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times at the White House? What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Now, the pardon from Biden would indeed stop Fauci from being charged for anything he did during COVID. And so it seems cowardly if you're Aaron Rodgers. But it wouldn't stop him from being charged with perjury. And that's why this hearing exists. This hearing exists to try and set a perjury trap for Anthony Fauci.
Whoa.
Because they've got their hands on his diary, which was on the server of the government. Fauci doesn't have his diary. They've got his diary with 1,000 pages in it. He doesn't know what was in it. He wrote it 6 years ago. And they're asking him questions when they know what's in his diary and he doesn't. Also, they have access to his phone records from when he was in the administration 6 years ago. And they can ask him whatever they like. He doesn't know what's there. Classic perjury trap, where he just doesn't remember, he doesn't know. They can act like there's something and they can kind of trick him into saying something, and then they hit him with perjury. They might go, They can't hit him with a perjury charge. He'll say, I've forgotten. I didn't intentionally
I was thinking,
lie.
why can't he just say that?
And he can. In court, when they charge him with perjury.
Okay.
He doesn't want to do that.
Sure.
Does he want to go through years and years of trials? Because that's what they want to do to him, right? That even if they can't convict him, they can just ruin,
waste his time.
Yeah, the last few years of his life. The man is Biden old, right? He doesn't need to spend the rest of his life in court. That's what this was about. It makes perfect sense for him to plead the fifth, to stop having to go through a perjury trap. I would do it if I was him. I totally would. And any lawyer worth their salt would do that. So it wasn't cowardly. It was just what you do. And any of those people would have done the same thing if they're in his position. So they should stop giving him a hard time about it. It makes me so pissed off, Lockie. This whole episode is just despicable. And like I said, I don't like Fauci. I think he's high on his own supply. I really do. I think he loves being a celebrity. He always gave me the shits a bit. But he doesn't deserve this. He does. And what's the incentive that you're setting for the next one? And the next one, there's just so short-sighted and awful. And by the way, yeah, he likes being a celebrity. He's high on his own supply. He's not alone there. Not in the Senate, he's not. That's for sure. Those dudes asking him the questions are exactly the same. So I just want to add all that on Fauci. You have any thoughts?
I'd never known that you could set perjury traps like that. Incredible.
That's what they do.
And devious. I'll be watching out next time you ask me about anything I put in my diary.
You're always under oath, Lockie. Locke, thank you so much for this first pep back.
No, thank you.
I don't know when the next one is, but it'll be next Friday if we'll do a feedback kind of correspondency one in the meantime. We'll see how I feel. But there's another one coming soon, that's for sure. And until then, stay peppy.